was muted. I started talking and I was muted. Rookie mistake. Wick. Howdy, howdy. How's everyone doing today? Welcome to yet another episode of Wick TV. It's a cross-ideological space where we come together to talk about issues both political and cultural, from the silly to the serious. We got some stuff to talk about today, okay? So I put out a call earlier as I had been fighting, quote unquote, with Soy Pill and Pisco over Twitter the following evening. And so I put out a call to anyone who kind of disagreed with me. I tagged a few people. Josiah, I fought with Josiah this morning, right? On Twitter. Hutch, Pisco, Josiah, Soy Pill, whoever wanted to come challenge some of my takes. And I admit they're a little spicy. I admit there are a few spicy takes that I've been making, okay? About the elections coming up, the primaries and the general elections, who we should support, who we shouldn't support, and why. And HobbitFollower here, who I'm about to bring on, has agreed to have a conversation with me on some of these takes. We disagree, but there's not a lot of daylight between our positions. We want the same thing. We just have different ways of going about it. So without further ado, since he is backstage, let me bring him on. And he can introduce himself, and we can get this party started. We got LAN, the Liberal Action Network people. They're coming on at 8, so we have a time limit here. So, welcome to the show. How are you?
What's going on, buddy?
Oh, just messing with the tech, making sure people can see you. Do you have a camera for us today or not?
Not in this environment, I don't know. The only time I've ever done a camera, I had a beard on and looked like Gandalf.
Yeah, that's why that's how I know you. Every time I've seen you, you had a beard and looked like Gandalf and did your thing. But fair enough if you don't have a camera. That's okay.
Yeah, I don't. That was a one-time thing, just because Erudite had asked if I could be on cam, because for that discussion or whatever that she had, she wanted everybody to be cammed up, so I made an exception.
Fair enough. So I guess just to kind of fill the audience in on what we're going to be talking about today. On Friday, if you were here, we watched Pisco and Mr. Mooten have a debate about the DSA. And one of the, I guess, hotter takes that Mr. Mooten made during that conversation was that we, as liberals, as Democrats, should not support Hong in the Wisconsin governor general election. Pisco took some issue with that. Others have taken some issue with that. But the more I think about it, and the more I thought about it, the more I found Mr. Mooten's argument compelling. Basically, it's this. Hong is so extreme and has partnered with people who are so not just toxic to the Democratic brand, but also who are ideological enemies. And it would be better overall for the Democratic Party and the health of the nation if Hong were to lose the general, even to someone who is MAGA, right, than for her to win. Because her winning would do a few things. It would signal to the DSA types that their brand of politics would actually work in the Democratic Party. It would be a powerful incentive for people to start appealing to these ideological enemies that we have. And overall, I think it would make the Democratic Party more MAGA-like than I am comfortable with. And that is why I think that in the case of Hong, we should not support her in the general election. I'm not telling you to vote for MAGA, to be clear. I think you should probably just sit this one out or vote third party. But yeah, that's my argument. And HobbitFollower disagreed, and I'm happy to have him, and I'm happy to talk about it, and we'll go for it.
Yeah, so one of the reasons why I had contacted you was you took a position that I think is different than what most people are taking from this entire discourse. So I obviously am the head moderator of the Destiny subreddit. So I see a lot of conversation that happens in this space, and I see it more than just like a tweet where you have to dig through a bunch of replies. I see it more than like what chats might be doing as they're scrolling by and things like that. I see a more static version of what it is that people are feeling. And so you took a position of I think your words were that you would something to do with the couch. Like
Yeah, I
yeah,
choose the couch. I would sit
yeah.
home, right?
So and my worry is like one, I feel like that's a more defensible position than what I've been seeing. So my worry is that and what I've been seeing is people that are not taking that approach of, I'll actually just sit out from this. I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to support this. I feel like the thing that I would be voting for is so misaligned with my values that uh, that I can't even bring myself to vote for anybody. And so I think that's that. I don't agree with that position, but I think it's more defensible. But what I've been seeing more and more of is people actually advocating for voting for the MAGA candidate. And it's not just in this race, it's also in the Michigan Senate race. I think that me and you are in agreement, and I follow the same reasoning that Mooten gave in that debate is that the Senate is much too important to even take a chance at trying to, smother this thing in the crib or whatever it is that you want
Mm.
to talk about this DSA movement. So my main issue is one, I want to try to convince you that the governorship is just as important as a Senate seat.
Sure.
Um, but I want to make clear, I also think that Hong is crazy, and it would. I'm very grateful that I don't live in Wisconsin, and so I don't have to make that choice that I'm about to advocate for. Because um, I honestly think it would be like one of the most difficult votes that somebody could make in that situation.
No, I understand.
But I
Can
just want to know, do you
oh,
agree that people that are advocating to vote for MAGA in comparison, like that is an indefensible position?
well, it's the same reason I would say even if you think that Hong is the lesser evil, you shouldn't vote for the lesser evil in this case. I would make that same argument for people who would say, well, I'm going to vote for MAGA because I think the other side is just so bad that we should vote for MAGA. No, do not vote for these illiberal bastards, right? Do not do it. Do not lend them your support in any way, shape, or form. I agree with you that people who are like, I'm going to vote MAGA are making a huge mistake. They should not do that. But that is not like, it's hard for me to, like, yeah, I just agree with you that they should not be making that position, taking that position or making that vote. I think it's indefensible. In the same way, it's really hard to defend a vote for Hong too. Um, I do though want to kind of elaborate a little bit on my El Said take. Um, because I worry it's being I worry it's being undersold. And what I mean by that is that how you feel about it being a very hard vote, in your opinion, if you were in Wisconsin to vote for Hong. Even though I think El Said should win over Rodgers, it would be the same for me. I would have to get very drunk. I would have to really grit my teeth, and I would have to take a shower afterwards, right? I would feel so fucking dirty. El Said is not a good person. He is a liar, and he's cozying up to terrorists and terrorist supporters. Um, he these people praise Mao Zedong, who killed 40 million people in China. These people are flirting with great replacement theory, and they lie constantly, constantly. And El Sayed lies too. He's lied about his stances on defund the police or abolish the police in the statements he made. And when confronted on these things, he just dodges and he doesn't answer straight. And so I do not like the man, and in 2032, we should primary the shit out of him. But that said, the Senate is so important that I would have to hold my fucking nose and do my duty. so to speak. But I don't want it undersold. In any other situation than the one we are in now, El Said would not get my vote either. But because of just we have to win the Senate, like we have to, I'm just gonna have to set that to the side for a moment. So I just want to make that clear.
Yeah, and I agree with almost everything you said. I honestly don't know if I disagree with anything, but if I skimmed over something that I heard that I do
Sure.
disagree with, just leaving myself open for that. I agree with you and Mooten that the Senate is, I mean, it is without question one of the most important bodies that we have to combat Trump. When it comes to confirmations, I mean, this guy cycles through different people that need to be confirmed by the Senate on a pretty regular basis, not just in his cabinet choices and things like that, but also any federal appointments for judges. And I know that the strongest thing that you can advocate to vote for El Sayed is because of the Supreme Court and the possibility of whether it's Thomas or Alito or one of these people retiring. We need to have as much power in the Senate as we can to stop them from being replaced with, some mid 40s person that might not even have judicial experience. If you're looking at some of these judges that are being confirmed to federal benches, it's a pretty questionable, um, I guess, like line that they have to cross. Like that, it seems like they just have to deny that the election was won by Joe Biden in 2020, and then have
Mm.
some semblance of a law background. And I worry that that could be something that even moves to the SCOTUS, or you could have something like Todd Blanche being, um, you know, put
Yeah,
in that position. So
it's not good.
I agree with you 100% on how important that is, and that's the same thing goes for Maine. Same thing goes for South
So
Carolina.
with Maine, I'm just curious. Had Plattner remained the nominee, would you still have voted for him?
Um, that I probably wouldn't have actually. I
Yeah.
think I draw the line at the things that he was accused of. I feel like if I was accused of those things, I would put out a much different statement than what he did. And so, like, from I morally could not vote for somebody that has like a
Okay, I was
credible.
just doing
Yeah,
a
that
check there, right? Because I know
yeah.
that I've talked to people like Soy Pill and things, and he says no. Even after if he had been the nominee, the Senate is so important that I would vote for this guy. Even so, and I just wanted to make sure we weren't. I'm just checking to see where you are, right? It's a temperature check, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
no, but like Troy
But
Jackson,
you know,
I would say, I would
like
vote
it's
for that
weird. Like
guy.
Troy Jackson's weird. I
Yeah,
uh, being a cousin fucker is weird.
that
Um,
is weird.
I don't, but yeah, it's just so like it's not. I don't think it's immoral, right? And so I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, it's weird, but I'll vote for you. I also don't like his judgment when it came to Plattner and campaigning with Plattner, but I think I see that more as a mistake than something that is
Yeah, I
unfixable.
think Soy
Yeah.
Pill made a joke about that, and he was like, and look at his record. I mean, he campaigned for Plattner or something. Like he made a joke about that. But yeah, like I said, it would be something that would be completely removed from like a policy disagreement or anything with Plattner. It would
Yeah.
be like a moral
Yeah,
reputation of.
and I think it's important for people to have lines.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I'm having this argument publicly is because I want to renormalize lines in the sand that you do
Yep.
not cross. And one of the reasons I'm opposing Hong is because I am a liberal and I think that she is fundamentally at her core dangerous to liberalism. And if you will allow me to rant a little bit,
Yeah.
um,
Absolutely.
I do want to kind of stress why that matters, right? Because I hear people like, well, MAGA is just such a big threat. MAGA, Trump, they're going to try to destroy our Constitution. They're going to try to destroy the country. That's all true. But illiberalism would also do that on the left too, right? It would come in a different form and it would happen a different way, but it would still fundamentally destroy what it what America is. Liberalism, okay, and the reason why it matters is because it succeeds where all the other isms fail, right? It creates durable, lasting protections for you, dear viewer, and you, Mr. Hobbit follower, and me, right? For the individual. Populism, collective movements, they may promise to defend you, but that lasts until the political winds are against you. And then you're fucked because your rights are all up for grabs, right? Because of democracy. They can simply vote them away. If a different faction takes power than you, you have very little protection under other isms. However, liberalism creates institutions and strengthens institutions and reifies institutions that will protect you. It builds courts, laws, civil liberties, due process that are all designed to do this, right? And checks on state power so that your rights remain protected regardless. MAGA populism doesn't work. It asks you to trust a strongman. Socialism doesn't work. DSI types, they'll ask you to trust the movement. Communists ask you to trust the state. Liberals ask you not to trust any of these people. It builds institutions that even people with good intentions cannot easily become tyrants within it. And this matters in your everyday life, too. This isn't just high ideological things. Liberal societies are better at protecting your job, your vote, your property, your speech, your family, your right to disagree. They give people room to live differently, solve problems through without violence. It just makes for a better life for people. And you get richer, too. You get more prosperous. Stable laws, secure property rights, open markets, public investments, predictable institutions give ordinary people the confidence to build businesses, change jobs, buy homes, save money, and plan for the future. Liberalism does not solve everything. And this is one of the things that I think that we are unfortunately going through this time where any sort of setback, any sort of hardship is seen as fixable or solvable. And it's not sexy to say, but no ism is going to solve all your problems, man. Like, no government can do that. No policy can just fix everything. There's always going to be poor people. There's always going to be homelessness. There's always going to be sick. There's always going to be issues, crime, poverty, etc. Liberalism does the best to minimize that than any other ism, though. Like, it simply does, while retaining your freedoms. It's not a perfect society, but it is the best of the available societies. And again, this is why it's very important when you got Hong coming on saying, well, we're just going to end these things, like end poverty. Or like El Sayed will say, money in your pocket, right? Money out of politics. Like, that's an easy thing to do. No, they promise the moon and deliver nothing. And until we realize that liberalism is the most consistent form of getting you what you need to be successful and free, we're just going to keep flipping back and forth. And we live in a time where we are at a D+7, D+8, D+9 environment. And then you have Hong and El Sayed are probably going to lose their general races, right? Like, well, El Sayed probably will, it's a toss-up with El Sayed.
He's closer,
right?
For sure.
But Hong's not looking good for the general gang. And I feel like by sacrificing our principles of liberalism to support her, we're not gonna get anything out of it, and we're gonna tarnish our brand anyway, and that bothers me. And anyway, I'm ranting too long. I'm gonna give you the mic, and then I can respond to what you have to say. Go ahead.
We got time to kill before your show starts, so I'm here as a guest, so anything you want to say, feel free.
Do you want to join Live and Learn?
If they want me to, otherwise you're more than welcome to.
Well, they just told me to.
But yeah, they told you to, but did they tell me to? I don't think.
Live and Learn is talking about this one. If one or both of you want to discuss this with them before your 8 p.m. deadline.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would be down.
Let me DM. Sorry.
It might end up turning into 5v1 though. If we're
I'm
being honest
look,
on you.
I'm strong.
Yeah.
You're gonna 5v1 won't be fair for you. Okay.
Okay.
You're gonna need at least 10.
Yeah, I'll take a back seat if I have to. It's fine. What I will say, just while
Yeah,
we're
go
still
ahead.
here, one of the things that I DM'd you was that liberalism to me is my core. It's my vital organs in my body. I take liberalism over any democratic value that I have that aligns with the party or anything like that. Um, you know, I kind of go hand in hand when I talk about liberalism. I'm talking about like liberal democracies and living under a liberal democracy. Liberalism is the equality of rights in the state and equality under the law. Generally, we're talking about equality amongst corporations, things like that. It generally goes into like a capitalist framework, that kind of stuff. But the most important things to me are the equality of rights and equality under the law. Um, and so I agree with you that when we're talking about these socialist types, they believe in a system that, well, they try to hide it because it's the best. Whenever they're advocating for it, it's the best version of something that's never succeeded before.
Yeah, I
And
hear you.
when they're talking about it, they're talking about it in a way that it's like, well, if we just do this, this, and this correctly, everybody will actually have more of a democratic say in what it is that they're doing. It's not just going to be at the ballot box; it's going to be at the workplace, and it's going to be in this, that, and the other area, and it's actually going to be more freedoms for everybody to do what it is that they want to do. And I mean, IRI does a really good job with explaining what it is that these people are putting in their policies that they're wanting to implement. It's a lot of, Pizza Hut's going to be in the school cafeteria, and I think he said Dr. Pepper in the drinking fountain. I've never heard anything like that, but that was awesome.
Did,
Because Dr.
Dr.
Pepper
Pepper in
is
the
the most
drinking
superior
fountain?
soda.
Okay.
So, but that's the exact reason why I'm telling you that I feel like I'm not advocating for us to put a bunch of weight behind this. As a content creator, I think you're in a very different spot than somebody that's like me, and then somebody that's just an average voter, or it goes down the line of
Okay.
people that listen to this
Hold
kind of
on.
stuff. Yep.
We gotta transition. I'll have
Okay.
them send you a link in a second, but give me a moment, okay?
Yep.
Okay, sorry about this. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you in a moment. Test, test, test.
I feel like it's cuckoldry, a form of cuckoldry, to like go after libs, defending people who never believed in blue no matter who. Like I'm not going to do that. I just
Who's
simply
defending them? What are you
I
talking about?
I simply refuse.
What do you mean defending them? Like we're trying to defend the fucking results in given places. That's what we're doing. But you're like, oh, because it inures to the benefit of a left-wing person as opposed to a center-left person, then it's like you're sweeping. Was I sweeping for Kamala?
No,
when
I
said,
didn't. I honestly didn't even see your post, so I don't know the extent of the commentary that you've given on this.
Oh.
But so I didn't have you in mind. I wasn't like throwing shade or anything like that.
Oh, there's the wig class himself, the head honcho.
Hello.
What's up, man?
Josiah DM'd me or super chatted me and is like, hey, DM Soy Pill to get on Lib and Learn.
Get Josiah in here too, man. Josiah, I know you're watching. Get in here, buddy.
Yeah.
Come on in.
Me and Josiah had a little back and forth this morning.
Pull up a chair. You know you want to. Get in here.
But,
you can't resist. Watch. He'll join. Mark my words.
Don't worry. As we talk, I'm sure he will want to have a few things to say.
Well, before we argue,
Oh,
Wick, do you
go
want to
ahead.
promote your Liberal Action Network? What does that do? I don't know if I want to pay money to do liberal action. I just want to go places and
We're
canvas.
not asking for money.
Oh, okay.
We're not asking for funds or anything like that. Right now, the Liberal Action Network, it's very new. It's something that has been cooking up for a while, but they just released it on my birthday, which was a few days ago.
Happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday.
Thank you. Um, and it basically is liberal streamer NATO, like we talked about. It is well, no, for real. It's for people.
An attack on one is an attack on all. Article
It's
5.
a defensive alliance, right? Where
Yes.
people who have consistently been coming at our throats, right? We can communicate together, work together, because again, alone we get isolated, we get separated, we feel like it's hopeless, like there's no one around that shares our values. But it's a place and a system where we can just support each other and promote liberalism in the
And
broader
brigade
online
lefties and
discourse.
snark on them. Yes. No, listen, I'm all for it. Look, you guys go off on your liberal action network, and I think that like that's all cool and base, and we should defend ourselves against bad faith attacks and shit from lefties and stuff like that. And if Josh Shapiro becomes the nominee and there's like this bullshit about the murder shit, I'm going to be adding the Vanguard at some point. I want to have a debate with them because I've been hearing them go a little crazy. That's all cool, whatever. What the fuck does it have to do with this conversation?
Oh,
So
no.
Bill
he
asked
was just
me, and I
promoting it
told him.
before, so
Oh,
I
my
thought
bad.
I'd let him
Sorry,
promote it. Yeah,
Sorry,
Pisco,
my bad.
were you
That's on me.
listening?
That's on me. I have
I don't listen to
Whoa,
Soy
whoa,
Bill talks
on your
either, to be
book,
clear.
We're not
But
talking about your fucking book right now. All
Oh,
right, Wick.
also,
Oh,
we
go
have to
ahead.
push the Pac-Man conversation. Heads up.
Oh yeah, we rescheduled. Pac-Man's a very busy man.
Wait, go ahead.
So is Wick, are you in the camp that would vote Republican? I'm not trying to put any evil
No.
on you. I honestly have no idea why you're up here. No offense. I'm happy to have you up here, but I don't know what position do you have that has brought you to this table?
So I think that if I were to be in Wisconsin and Hong were to win the nomination, I think that I would not vote. I would choose
Wow.
the couch. I
So
think that.
does
But you
that
would
mean-
prefer the Republican, as you said in the tweet exchange.
Well,
You'd
hold
prefer
on. If
Tom
I had
Tiffany
my
win.
preference, we wouldn't have Hong as a nominee.
I know, but
Base
given the
liberal
general,
warrior
you
would
did
come to the
say-
fore, defeat her in the
Now when
primary.
IRI is asking
right?
you don't want to disappoint your like dad, and IRI has this like very fatherly presence about him.
Oh,
I
please.
really,
He
truly.
does.
And I look up to him. I think everyone should look up to him. And you're hiding your power level. You said in our Twitter reply that your preference is that the MAGA Republican Tom Tiffany in a matchup with Francesca Hong.
I think it's
he would
better for the
win.
Democratic Party. Yes, I think it's better.
So why not say it with your chest? Why be like, my preference is this entire thing never happened
Because-
in the first place?
Because when you say it's my preference, you act as it signals that it's my first choice. It's not. We are in a situation, however, where I don't get my first choice. I don't get my preference. And since we are in a situation where Hong has, I think that Hong threatens liberalism in many of the same ways that MAGA does. And I find it more insidious than MAGA because there are people who would never defend MAGA who will defend Hong. And that's why I think she's a greater threat. Now, look, I think that when it comes down to it, Hong's not going to win the general. I think that that's what the evidence
just a dodge.
suggests.
That's like just doing a prediction. We're not asking you for your Nate Silver take, bro. We're asking you for your outlook in terms of who you want to win, not what
No,
you expect
again, I think
will
it's better for the
happen.
Democratic Party if she loses. Yes.
You know, I don't think we need to speculate too much. I mean, I don't know if we've ever had a DSA governor, but we've had DSA mayors, I think, right? And we've had, you know, people.
I'm done.
They've had some prominence in like local politics. They've done decently well at the state level in some cases. And you know, what was the worst that happened? They did some stupid policies that they ended up rolling back a couple years later. So when you say like Hong represents just as much of a threat to liberal democracy as MAGA, that seems kind of crazy to me, Wick, a little bit, because
Sure.
MAGA, you know, as a political movement, a
Well-
majority of them think that, you know, 2020 was stolen and they straight up literally tried to
Yeah, but
steal
El
an
Said's
election.
been playing with, and El Said isn't DSA, but and I will vote for El Said if he wins. I want to make that clear because the Senate's just more important. But I think that El Said's been playing with electoral election denialism too. saying that if he loses, it's because of APAC and outside
No, I
funding.
agree.
and
I
not the
agree
will of
that
the
stuff is
voters.
cringe. But that's not
Okay.
that's not even in the same universe
know.
as
I
what
get
Trump
it,
did in
but
2020. And
my argument here is that if Hong were to win in the general, it would make it harder to defeat MAGA in the future. And let me lay this out for you. Like, we know that Hong is underperforming, and most of the DSA candidates are underperforming the environment right now, right? So we're in like a D+8, D+7 environment. They are either underwater and probably not going to win, or they have taken winnable races and made them either a toss-up or likely red, likely Republican. If she wins, what's going to happen in the primary is people are going to want to go towards, or be more likely to go towards her style of politics and campaign with the same people that she's been campaigning with, right? That I do feel are an existential threat to the Democratic
but I
Party.
would grant you that, Wick, and I would still say that that's not that's a less bad outcome than having a
Yeah.
Republican governor.
And how is that different from the Hassan camp saying the exact same thing about Kamala? Like, hey, yeah, obviously trolley problems, she's not as bad, but if you elect her, then we're going to get more liberalism, we're going to get more do-nothing Democrats.
Because
They're
I
not
like
going to push the
liberalism and
party
I don't
line,
like illiberalism.
And MAGA
That's
is
the
going to
difference.
take over because it's going to disaffect voters, and people will say, well, they're not delivering. Like, this is the exact same argument that I said is total bullshit from him, and that's how, like, part of the reason we get millions of people dead from USAID cuts. That's how we get all our institutions covered.
The difference is they're being shown a pizza and saying, oh, I can't eat pizza, it's poisonous, okay? And then I'm being shown a plate of cyanide and saying, I can't eat that, it's
You're doing the
poisonous.
Nina Turner
We're
thing.
making the same argument, but the facts of the matter are not the same.
You're doing the Nina
Obviously,
Turner
I'm
shit
correct
sandwich
and they
thing.
are incorrect. But
So
at
that's
the
the
end
only
of the day,
argument is I'm right and they're wrong. Like, you don't have like polling to show this will happen down the line.
I
Like,
can. I just pointed to what's happening with El Said and Hong, right? Hong has taken a winnable race and made it so we are going to have much harder time winning that. Can we acknowledge that reality?
Well, the polls,
100% yes.
Yes.
yeah, the polls,
So
the
if
polls say that.
yes,
Yeah.
so if we don't want that to happen in the future, we don't want this constant taking winnable races if we just have generic Democrat or someone just fucking moderate, and then making them much harder to win.
But this-
if
but
we
this
want
is
to
an
help
argument-
nip that,
this is-
if I may finish.
yeah,
If
but
we
isn't
wanna-
that like
if
this
I
is
may
why we
finish,
shouldn't
please.
elect her in the
If I may
primary?
finish, please.
Like, I don't want to vote for her in the primary.
Yes, this is a primary argument, not a general argument.
No, it's a general argument too. If she wins the primary, it's much. If she wins the primary, and then so by some miracle she wins the general, what's going to happen is there's going to be more people. We knew we could get him in here.
I
so-
knew
I'm
it.
not, I'm not
I
saying
knew it.
anything though. I'm
I
not
knew
saying
it.
anything though. I'm just gonna sit here and show you
Just
that
when
I
I
am
thought I was
conquering
out.
that I'm conquering my fucking addiction, and I can be here and I can be in the midst of this, and I'm not gonna say a word. So
Not
go
to
ahead.
not to leak any private DMs, but look, Josiah, he called me a couple nights ago, just crying. He's like, Niels, I can't stop. I can't stop. It's hours and hours. I'm stuck in these calls. I can't stop super chatting. I can't stop entering these arguments, and I want to quit. My wife, she says, Josiah, please come to dinner, please, please, and he won't come. He's locked himself in the garage. He won't stop joining, and this is our intervention, Josiah. This is all of us in a circle around you. saying,
You actually baited
You
me
can-
here to
you
have me an
need to
intervention.
stop.
Wick doesn't
You
actually
need to
believe
stop.
a goddamn thing he just said. It was all to provoke me to get here.
True. No, you know what?
Listen.
You got me.
Get Mootin in here. Get
I
him
will
in.
say,
Look,
I
hold
will
on,
say,
hold
I
on,
missed dinner.
hold on.
Who the
before.
fuck is Mootin?
It's very unfair right now. You guys are going to need more guys. Okay, it's very unfair for
We
you
need-
right now.
We need
okay?
four more.
You're gonna
we
need more
four
guys.
Democrats to
Okay.
tech Wick, yeah.
Oh,
But we can
Wick,
get
I'm
moving
curious. What is your reaction to my argument I made a few minutes ago about the governor of Wisconsin will play a role in the certification of the 2020 election results and could undermine public trust in our democracy? Isn't that worse than any damage DSA could do to our party through Hong as governor?
Yeah, specifically
I-
the candidate that said, I want to subvert the election and
Yes.
certify Trump, knowing that he did not win, basically. Like,
that obviously is a risk, and it's something worth keeping in mind when everyone has to make this choice for their own. I don't mean to downplay that. I don't.
well, you're saying
mean
it's not as
to-
important.
Yes, because I think the other threat is much more dire than that.
then
Because
so
at the end of the day,
Stealing the election is
Hold on, I
worse
don't think
than
they'll do
someone
it.
not even
I don't think
committing
it'll
to doing
work.
the craziest thing on their platform.
I don't think it'll work.
Yeah, we don't think prison abolition will
Oh,
work.
so you're the Ben Shapiro. The guardrails will hold, so we're
that is
good.
the
We
Ben
could just
Shapiro
keep
way.
electing these people who are going to try to subvert the entire
Again,
democratic process.
we don't. This problem, MAGA is waning right now. Their influence is waning. They are being beaten on every front.
Holy cope.
In
What?
polls, in special elections, we see us flipping seats from red to blue consistently
So
in
stop,
2026
stop
and
keeping the pressure
2025.
up on him and vote for them. Even
I-
is
I
that what the argument is?
I can't finish the argument, right? You won't
You're
let
You're
me.
triggering me.
okay?
This is ridiculous. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's
I thought
not
MAGA was a
ridiculous.
fucking existential fascist threat, and they're like, they're on their way out. The
They-
guy's
hold on.
joking about
Are
running
we-
for a third fucking
hold on.
term.
What is Trump's approval rating right now?
It's really
35.
bad. He just
The
crossed
mid-
like.
I think
30
it's
numbers.
probably it's the fifth lowest ever, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah, but
fifth
wait,
lowest
who
ever.
cares? Who cares if he doesn't fucking win the election if he
He's a
tries to
fascist.
fucking steal it?
That is a problem and a threat. But if he
That's a
tries to
risk I'm
fucking
gonna
steal
take.
the
A little one
election,
that I'm willing
voting
to take
won't
to just
matter.
make sure Hong doesn't win.
Hong, look, so say they try, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but say they try another false slate of electors scheme, right? Where they have and they get the swing states that go blue, inshallah, in 2028, right? They put out a false slate of electors, say it was stolen, and they send it to the Congress. And J.D. Vance is a spineless cuck and will just do whatever Trump says.
Yeah. You don't
Mike
have to
Pence,
say because
the
they've all
Patriot-
said they would do this. By
Right.
the way, JD
Yeah,
Vance said I would have certified
Yes.
for Trump.
Yes,
So,
yes,
okay.
yes. And then when he does say, okay, we're going to accept these false slate of electors, what happens? It goes to the House, doesn't it? Is that what
You're
happens?
think
asking
anybody
the-
knows.
You're asking the
No, I'm pretty
procedural?
sure that's what happens. It will go to
So-
because I watched
so there are
Dev's
many-
video on this. Dev's
There are
video
many
was
different stages to it.
based.
So if you're trying to interfere through Congress, then yes, the House can vote as House delegation, as a state delegation.
Yeah, so
and
it
then
would
it's
be
out of 50.
important in that
But
case
it's
if
not
you
just
wanna
that.
stop
Hang on.
it.
So there's layers to this. The first was just to have Mike Pence declare Trump the victor. The second was to have the state actors actually send the official slates to be the Trump slate. So to obviate the need for congressional support and just have the governor send over slates of electors. And that's why he went after those state electors first. Remember that? That's why he had these people on the phone. Raffensperger, he brought in the Michigan guys. Like, this is why the state actors matter.
Wait,
Because there's
wait,
multiple
but
levels.
Wick was about to say something here, and he's about to walk into a trap. But go ahead, Wick.
or walk into the trap.
Yeah,
So
go ahead.
it's going
Tap
to
on
go
the
to the
right,
House,
Wick.
correct? After he's like,
House-
well,
that's
we
one
can't
avenue.
we can't know which slate of electors is true. We're going to have to go to the House and vote on it, right? That's as I understand what
That's
the
one
process.
No,
method.
wait. No, Pisco, don't
No.
let him finish. Let him finish.
Is that correct? Am I correct in this?
You're kind of correct.
Kind of.
Kind of correct. How am I wrong?
Well, wait.
So
Finish
they-
your thought. Wait, finish your thought.
Sure.
Don't let's
So,
let him do the punchline
if-
here.
Oh, I think I know where you're going. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
If we are going to want in 2028 to maximize our chance of stopping that, the thing we need to do is ensure we win the House. Would that be logical? Correct?
Yes, but here's the problem. Winning the House is not enough. Do you know why?
Well, I
Who was
I
Speaker
agree
of the
winning
House
the
on
House is not
January
enough
6th?
in general, but
No.
why do
Who
you
was
say?
Speaker of the House on January 6, 2021?
The Speaker of the House in 2021? I don't remember. I don't
Was
recall.
Nancy Pelosi.
Nancy Pelosi.
Fair enough.
Simply having a majority in the House doesn't protect you because it's about the state delegations. And guess which party has more state delegations than the other party?
Hol-
The Republicans.
State delegations, that would be Republicans, correct?
Correct. So
Yes.
if it were to go to the House and the House were the ultimate arbiter of who would win at the election, it would be Republicans, even with a Democratic majority.
Hold on. How would that work, though?
It's 50. So it's 50 states, and every member votes within their delegation, and the majority is the vote for the state. That's the fucked up
Yeah.
system we have.
So that
I mean, even if it wasn't,
so
by the
in
way,
House,
like this is
Yeah,
where
but-
I thought you were going, Josiah. Like, the governor is going to affect any kind of gerrymander that's going to occur. The governor could literally have an effect on the House of Representatives just based on, like, the thing about
hold
it with
on,
Newsom.
no, not for 2028, sir, because
Says who?
time. Again,
Well,
who's
these-
currently governor in Wisconsin?
Right now, it's Evers.
Evers, right? Evers, as I understand it, is an election denier, is he?
No, but
He's not
but
an elec-
Hong. But if Tiffany wins, Tiffany would be seated for the remainder of between January 2027.
28
And-
is what matters.
Yeah, until
Yes.
January 3rd, 2028. And remember, the new House is seated
Before
before the election is certified on January 6th. So
I
in
don't
theory-
bause that's true, actually.
Wait,
I
can,
believe
can
it
I
goes
jump in?
to
Because I feel like we're
Absolutely
getting a
true.
little lost in the weeds here. What is happening is we have two options in primaries. We have DSA people and we have the not DSA people. And in the places where DSA people are winning, we're now saying the only way to cut the cancer out, to make sure they don't win, is to vote for MAGA Republicans or not
No,
vote.
not
and
vote.
not, hey, what happened in this primary that made us get rat fucked so hard we didn't win and beat these people that apparently have this so unelectable platform that they shouldn't be winning, but they still are. The voters are picking these people. So liberals, if we want these people out who have crazier ideas, we need better fucking candidates. And the idea that the solution to cutting DSA out of the tent is let's elect MAGA is fucking insane to me, regardless of whether or not you think the guardrails are going to hold. Like, this whole conversation is like, we're so past the, hey, why don't we run better politicians? Why don't we actually make sure that we can address voters the way that they
should do that
feel
as
being
well.
heard? Well, we're
why
not.
why are you getting mad at Wick right now and not?
Because he's
Elside-
saying basically
Well,
like
hang on.
the
Why are
only
you
way to
getting mad
do
at
this
Wick
is
and not mad at Hong for courting his vote?
Wait, he's also.
What do you mean? I'm not mad at Hong.
That to
I
occur.
want Hong to get as many voters as she can.
Well, you
I'm
should
mad
be
at
more
Wick
mad
for
at her.
saying
It's her job
but
to earn the
if-
votes.
Hodge, no meta
Wicks,
stuff.
if Wicks, no, it's fine. He could do
Oh.
it. I mean, like, look, I get it because these are
Just
dumb
saying.
arguments from the left, and if you repeat them,
They're
it's like,
not-
yeah, I understand these
Okay.
dumb arguments. But the point is, if Hong is unable to court Wick because Wick's position is, Hong, you're so bad, I want a MAGA instead of you, and I think MAGA is better down the line. What the fuck is she going to say to him?
I just want to say for the record, I was correct. They are seated on January 3rd, 3 days
Yes.
before January
Yes.
6th. I was
Yes.
right. I'm always right. Don't
Fair
question me on Senate procedure shit.
But again, the gerrymander won't come into effect. There's just not enough time to gerrymander in.
There's 2 years, Wick. What are you talking about?
Okay, when's the next House election? 2028.
2028. Yeah.
yeah,
28.
so you have the 2026 midterms here in November, and then the next House races are during the presidential election in 2028.
In 2028, yes.
Let me
Again, I
They
just
definitely
let me-
could gerrymander in those 2 years for sure.
me
I'm
try.
not sure how much of an impact the gerrymandering
Yeah, I
would
just don't. I don't
have.
see that as. I just don't see that as going to be. That's not going to be salient. It's not going to be able to be outcome determinative on this. right?
Let me.
But what will be
seat
outcome
matters,
determinative,
man.
and what we know will happen, is that if Hong wins the general election, right, and we have to fight for all these primaries where we take winnable seats and we make them much harder to win, we're going to have to need more resources. We're going to have to need more time, effort.
Yeah, but here's
when-
the thing. Wait. You know me. I would grant you all of that. I
Yes.
agree. I think if she, is the general candidate, and if she wins, it's going to make Democrats' jobs harder. It's impossible to quantify. Is that really going to be specific to that region of the country? Is it even going to affect a race like Alaska? I don't know. But the angle that I want to hit you with now is like, why wouldn't we just anticipate that the same thing that happened during Trump 1.0 is going to happen this time? Which is to say, like, the DSA is going to have they're going to have good nights, which relative to them is 4 people in the Congress or whatever. And they'll probably have another good night in 2028. But when we look at the trends right now with Trump's approval rating, and it is abysmal, and no one has ever, as far as I understand, nobody comes back from that kind of polling. They just continue to go down. And so what I think is the most likely outcome here, Wick, is the same thing that happened last time, which is the next time we have a Dem trifecta, the DSA is going to burn out, and they're going to plateau, and then they're going to decline because they have no pitch when a Democrat's in office. Then
I think
then their shit
But
is
here, Hutch.
unpopular. Hence Bowman and Cory Bush losing their
you
primaries.
would
And so-
grant me that the DSA is currently on this cycle expanding its seats. It's expanding its reach. It's not a lot. They are
this is like saying,
absolutely
they've
overselling it,
doubled from 2%,
but it is
to
getting
4%.
worse, right?
I just listen. Do you
Yeah,
see
this
them?
is-
Do you see them
Is that not
realistically?
true? What I just said?
Again, but it's like saying it's going from 1% to 2%, right?
Yeah,
like,
but that's why
know.
it's easy to nip in the bud now. I don't want it to get to 20% or
No.
25%.
I do no. Listen to me.
It's
Wait,
not easy
real
to
quick,
nip in
real
the
quick.
bud.
Hold
You're
on,
saying the solution is elect MAGA. That's not an easy solution.
Shut the fuck up and let me talk real quick. It actually doesn't, like, we're not nipping anything in the bud. You understand that when Republicans are in office, the DSA does better, right?
Well, that's why
Just
they try to get Republicans elected. Yes.
Demonstrably the case. They elect more DSA people. They're more successful when Republicans are in office at the state level and the federal level. So, if you acknowledge that, I don't understand how you could abide
because,
a Republican
again,
governor.
one seat, one governorship. Again, we know in 2026 that we are going to, in at least every metric I see, we're taking the House. We're getting 230 seats. We might even take the Senate. That's up in the air, and it's going to be harder. But those things are destined to happen, right? What's going to happen if Hong wins?
Happen.
Huh?
I mean, destined to happen. The betting markets right now have a 15% chance of Dems losing the House. Now, you can say it's likely, and we would agree. It's
sure.
likely.
Okay,
but
most likely.
But don't count
very
your chickens
likely.
before they hatch. And
it's
this,
very
this
likely.
beast is not done yet. And we don't want to hand them a crucial swing state governorship.
What we don't want to do is hand DSA this kind of victory that they can use to galvanize and get worse. And so it's not just during the Republican years where they get stronger, but it becomes something that happens in other years as well. Again, this is I think you guys are I think you guys are really underselling the threat here of these people, right? They are illiberal. They are going to make it harder to beat MAGA. They're going to make it harder to elect liberal Democrats. This is something that they say they will do, right? You got Mike from PA, you got Kyle Kulinski, you got Emma Vigeland, all saying that they are enemies to the Democratic Party, right? That they are, I believe Mike PA said he was going to depress Democratic turnout until we bent the knee to the left or whatever the fuck.
all of
That's
that
what
is
you're
consistent
saying
with what
now.
you're saying.
We hate
Yeah,
those
that's you,
people
yeah.
for saying that, and you're saying, yeah, and maybe we should vote for MAGA.
No.
The best way to
I
beat
have
MAGA is to
advocated-
elect MAGA, you fool.
I have advocated to sit out and not support these
So you
records.
disagree with Mooten when Mooten says vote?
Did Mooten say to vote for the
Yes, he sure did.
Republican?
Yes,
yeah,
he
I
sure
think he's
did.
wrong for that. I would
Okay,
never
but
vote
like,
for the Republican.
How
I'm not
this
gonna
is
vote.
I fucking call Hassan out for this shit. I fucking hate that a guy with 2 to 3 million fucking followers and all this money, like, look at what he's doing now for these candidates that finally align with him. It's like, hey, why the fuck didn't you do that when it mattered to beat Trump? And you're essentially saying the same thing as he is and saying, well, down the line, my calculus is that 3 years later, this will make it
Because
easier to
my
win.
en-
And
my
I don't
enemy is
see
not
that right
just
now.
MAGA.
I see, hey, this is a governor who might not certify the election. Right?
My enemy is not just MAGA. One of the things that is frustrating me is you use MAGA as this blank check to cede every single vote to the left that we can. And it's a problem, right? It cannot be that because MAGA is running, then we have no lines on our side, that we never draw something in the sand and say, this is
Yeah, we
too
said
much.
that earlier
We
before you were
cannot
here.
vote
There
for
was the
this.
candidate
Hong
in Texas
has
that was
passed this line for me, right? It's not just MAGA that is my enemy. It's authoritarianism. It's illiberalism.
Why is Hong so bad to you?
Hmm?
Why is Hong so bad in particular?
Well,
Did you see who she was campaigning? Well, first of all,
Well-
did you see who was campaigning with? Like, I think yesterday, maybe today.
Sure.
This person
Yes.
praises Mao Zedong, who killed 40 million people. This person is playing with great replacement theory, right? Lying about what the New York Times says, claiming that Israel is invading Muslims to Spain. It's
You're talking
crazy
about
shit,
Hassan.
right?
She's
Like,
she's campaigning with
this person
Hassan,
wants
that's what you're saying.
America to be destroyed as it is. He wants to abolish private property. He wants to what's the other, like, yeah, he's a terrorist supporter who
you don't even need to do guilt by association with her, though. Like, you can just listen to her stated positions.
yeah, well,
She
that
ha- she
too.
has-
But
she
like,
has
it's all of
positions-
the above.
She
that's
holds
a problem for me.
positions that are broadly toxic to the entire party. And Wick is right that if she wins the general and is the governor of that state, the Fox News and the right-wing media machine are going to have a fucking field day with her, and it is going to drag down the party. It's 100% guaranteed. There's just the positions that she was pushing on Fox News are so unbelievably toxic to the Democratic Party. We know this to be true.
Yeah, and
so,
even
you
the
know,
things that she's disavowed. You remember? Do you guys remember Project 2025? Right when they wrote Project 2025,
I forgot about that.
and then Trump was like, "Oh, I don't even know what this is." Right? I disavow it. Project 2025. I've never heard of it. And then when they got elected, they just started implementing 2025. I think about that a lot when it comes to the DSA and DSA candidates going on and saying, "I've never heard about that. I disavow that shit."
And that's why it's Lord of the Flies in Mamdanieville, right? I mean, that's why we have no private property in Mamdanieville.
Mamdani is a mayor. His power is limited, and he's letting in people like
governor-
DAC
and the
who
governor
are
can't
going to do
abolish
shit
the
like that
police
once
or
they get
prisons,
enough power. I don't know.
I wish you would,
like why would I ever vote someone who's like, "Hey, Wick, I'm going to like my stated policy position is we want to kill you. We're going to murder you." But don't worry, don't worry. We can't do it now. It's kind of silly to even be mad at me with it now. We don't have enough power to murder you. We don't have the strength or anything like that. So don't worry about it. That's our stated policy position, to murder you.
Yeah, but is
but
that
we're
her
not
stated
gonna
policy position? She wants to
Trying to
murder
murder you.
I'm illustrating a point. I don't think they're actually trying to murder
okay.
me, right? But I'm saying if
using it
someone
as
is
a
saying that
metaphor.
we want to abolish the Senate, we want to abolish
And if
the
someone
police,
is saying that
we
they
want to
want
abolish
to
all these things.
steal the 2020 election,
yes, that's bad. That's why I'm not voting for them either.
Yeah, but which one's worse?
Yeah, but sitting out an election, you risk the worst one, Tom Tiffany, winning.
I don't know if that's
Give
worse.
your tacit approval.
Well, wait,
saying,
okay, no,
"I
take a
accept
stance
that
right
if
now.
win."
You don't know which is worse. One's worse. They're not equally bad. Do you think MAGA
No,
is
they are
worse, or do
worse
you think
in
Hong is
different
worse?
ways, and it depends.
No,
do you feel that
one is worse? One's
no.
gonna be
Worst?
worse. You have to decide for yourself right now. Is
okay?
MAGA
Which is getting worse,
than the
burned to
DSA
death or
candidate?
shot? Depends where you get shot.
Yeah,
right?
if you make a
Maybe?
metaphor that's completely disanalogous, you can just completely deflect from the
But
question.
you
But
keep
I'm
no,
upset
you keep
with
saying
you right now.
what is
you can't just
absolutely
sit out
worse.
like a little
I
bitch. I've had this fucking energy
disagree.
to the left for 2024, and now you're like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
I
Fucking pick.
disagree
One is
with
gonna be
your
worse.
premise.
Do you think Hong is worse? Or do you think MAGA's worse?
I disagree with your premise. I think that they are
Are-
worse.
oh,
in
they're
different
equally
ways.
bad. They're just both
They're
equally
equally
as
bad?
bad as it
They're
can
in
possibly
different-
get.
like
I think that they are
phrasing.
worse in different ways. One is worse when it comes to Democratic electability and long-term survival of the party and long-term ability to beat back the
Okay.
Republicans. One is worse short-term, right?
But Wick-
So it depends. Is short-term worse or is long-term worse?
But Wick,
and I
the-
don't know the answer to that, so it's hard to
But-
rank.
But Wick, we don't know what's going to happen in the long term. A lot of things can change between now and that end result that you're talking about, right? Like a lot of twists and turns. But we do know that 2 years from now, Tom Tiffany is going to be like, this election was rigged. My swing state ain't certifying this shit. And here's a whole bucket of problems.
I think that is just as predictable as us having a big problem winning 2028, 2030, 2032. I think that these are equally big problems.
Okay,
for
well,
us.
Wick, then just say this. Say MAGA's worse, but I think that electing Hong might make it easier for MAGA to win in 2028. Like, at least then you can say,
because that's not the
okay,
only
maybe
reason
Hong
she's
wouldn't
bad.
be as bad as MAGA.
Because
right?
again, that's not the only reason she's bad. That is the reason I'm pitching to you
But
mostly
would
because
have
you
to,
guys
if
are
you were a
very
Wisconsin voter,
anti-MAGA.
Wick, and you have influence, you tell your people, people that live in Wisconsin are going to vote.
sit home.
What are you going to tell them? Just don't
Yes,
vote.
I will tell them, hey, look, vote your conscience, but for me, I'm sitting out.
No,
That's what fucking
no,
Hassan
no,
did in
no,
2024, and I will never stop.
Okay,
giving
but
him shit
he's
for that. This
doing that
pisses me
with
off. What the hell?
Kamala, who was a strong liberal
Bro, she
candidate
but
who
genocide,
wasn't a
I
threat
can't
to
tell
anything.
people in good faith to do it. It was
right?
a genocide. I can't tell you.
He
You
was
vote your
wrong,
conscience,
and
I, won't
I
tell
am
you what to
correct.
do.
That's the difference here. There's different facts of the matter.
Okay. I'm just right, and he's wrong. No,
No.
you're
Yes,
fucking retarded,
yes,
Wick.
yes,
I'm sorry. This
yes.
is so stupid.
Kamala is just better than Hong in the DSA in every single
No,
way
but
possible.
I think it might make make the Democrats harder to win in 2028 because Kamala will be feckless, and then MAGA will win even
she
harder in
wasn't feckless
2028.
and
So
would not
I
have
look,
been
it's just a
feckless.
calculus. I just have to vote for MAGA or sit out. I can't tell you to do that. Sorry.
Okay, you're just wrong here, though.
I'm fucking not actually holding.
You
this
are
position. I
wrong.
think it's retarded.
You were trying to compare them saying the sky is red and me saying,
Well, let me-
no, it's actually blue. And you're like, well, I don't know. Both sides have a
Wait,
point
can I
here.
ask-
No, you look
can I
out the fucking window and you see if the sky is red or sky is blue.
Wait, can I ask, who do you
Yes, of
hope
course.
wins? Even though you can't win, let's say you sit it out.
Sure.
Who would you hope wins?
Man, I hope
MAGA, he said it.
I think again, I think it'd be better if Hong lost. I think it would be better if Hong lost.
Hong
yes.
lost.
Long
So
term.
you would prefer MAGA win?
I don't know why you're being cagey about it. Say it with your fucking chest, Wick.
Yeah.
I
Why
keep
do you say-
saying it.
At
I'm not
least
going to
be like
look.
Ruin.
I'm not
No,
going to parrot your
at least be
lines.
like
I'm going to
Ruin.
say it how I
Yeah,
want.
Yeah, because you're
and you
scared
can't
how it
pressure
sounds.
me.
Yeah.
And you can't
Wait,
peer
Wick,
pressure
if
me
it's
into
better that
say it
Hong
in your
loses,
box.
if it's better
right?
that Hong
I'm going to
loses,
say it
Wick,
how
why
I
don't
like.
you just endorse MAGA right now and say, well, I want Hong to lose.
I'm not
and the best way
endorsing
for that to
MAGA.
happen
I'm
is
not.
you
I'm
win.
saying don't vote.
Why
for
not?
MAGA.
You want Hong to lose, right? That's the
I
better
think it would be
option?
better for Hong to lose.
Okay, well, there's one way for that to happen, and that's for MAGA to win, right?
Don't never
No.
vote
And
for
let
MAGA.
MAGA
Hong
win.
will lose if MAGA wins. This is a one or
Can I
the
ask-
other.
Clarifying though, Wick, are you hoping that taking this position now, 90 days before the November election, would get Hong to move and change her position, or is there nothing there?
Yeah, look.
No, there's
Hey,
no
if
redemption.
Wong or
Hey,
if Hong repents and Hong says, you know what, I disavow the DSA, Hassan Piker, you're a fucking psycho, and
That's
repents,
leverage.
then
We call that
boom,
leverage.
I switch my position immediately. Boom, we are
We call
back
that-
on the Hong train, baby. I
But
will
is that
I
your
will
goal?
go
You're
out
gonna
and I
hold
will
out
knock
until the
doors
voting
for
booth,
that
right? And
woman.
If she doesn't do it, you won't endorse.
Gettable voter.
I don't think
Wait,
she's gonna do
oh,
that.
Okay, that's not your goal then in doing this. You're convinced she will not change, and
Yes.
you're not trying to pressure her to change in any way.
My goal here, my advocacy is for people to have some lines and some standards, because MAGA isn't and I really want to stress this. MAGA isn't the only threat to our liberal democracy. The DSA and the left is also a threat. The far left I'm talking about. I'm not talking Soy Pill or Pisco or any of the people here. I'm talking the far left, the
Which
Hassan
is worse
Pikers.
right now?
They
Wick?
are a fundamental threat, and,
Hey, Wick,
and I think you
which
guys
is
are
worse
just
right now?
downplaying this all the time, and I
Wick,
don't
which
know
is worse
how
right
to
now?
get it through your head.
Which
right?
is worse right now, Wick?
Hey,
Is
what?
it the group of people that control all three branches of government, or the people, as
The
Hutch just pointed
people
out, who have won
who control
4
all
seats?
three branches of government are more dangerous. But
Mhm.
if the DSA controlled all three branches of government, they would be just as dangerous.
Yeah, and if
So,
my grandma
wait,
had
is it-
wheels, she'd be a fucking bike, but they don't.
you
do
not
it. So why
understand?
don't you say, hey,
It'll be
let's
easier
fight
to
these people
ride her.
in the fucking primary. Let's get these people out because I don't like their policies. They're a danger to the Democrats. They're a danger to Western civilization. But once they
Because
win,
we've seen
let's
this. We've
fucking
seen
stop
this play
MAGA.
out
Let's
before,
not let
man.
MAGA win and say, I really hope
We
MAGA wins
saw-
because that means Hong
We
loses.
saw this is
is
the
what-
exact
Wick,
same
you are
argument
legitimizing
that the
those
Republicans
fuck-ass
made
lefties
that
who
allowed
come into my
MAGA
chat
to
and
take over
say,
their party.
Scratch a liberal, a fascist bleeds. These people would vote for a Republican. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. You guys are fucking crazy. You're not on my side. And then you come out and say, I don't know. I kind of want MAGA to win this election. And I'm like, wow, you just proved all those retards right. That's how mad I am at you. You're making lefties
You
think
can be
they're right.
mad, but I'm just correct here. Because again, the argument you're making is that we have to accept literally almost anything
Wait,
in order to beat MAGA. It's a
Wait,
blank
hold on.
check
Of two
that's
evils.
going to
Yes,
allow
I
us.
accept the
It's
lesser
going to
of two
lead
evils
to the
voting.
death
I've
of the
always been
Democratic
this way.
Party.
wait, is Keith asking to join Live and Learn? Keith Edwards is in my chat.
Keith Edwards.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wait,
come on.
wait.
massive.
Let me ask.
He's
Wait,
massive.
just
If
quickly.
he wants on, you guys should bring
Yeah.
him on.
Yeah,
Bring
My
Keith
he's
on.
cool, dude.
Is
We
he
better than
asking? Is that what chat
Keith.
said or no? It might be
Keith,
trolling me here.
Keith, come on in.
Wick.
or let Soy Pill or Hutch know if you want on.
I will.
and
I will
they can let
fight
you on.
all of you. Okay.
No,
Keith
no,
Edwards
we
too,
gotta,
okay?
we gotta be. There's a dog pile going on here. I feel like reflexively, I want to take the opposite position.
But Wick, so just
Go ahead.
straight up, who's worse right now, DSA or MAGA?
I think MAGA is worse because they control the government, but the DSA is worse because they're so insidious, and there's a
But-
difference.
Okay, so the immediate threat then is MAGA.
But it can, again, yes. But if we want to, because it's not just the immediate threat. Like MAGA is not going to go away, right, in 2
But
years.
here's the
We
thing,
all
Wick,
understand that,
we-
correct?
We won't have those fights in the future if we don't get through 2028. You know what I'm saying? Like there is
Sure.
nothing to worry about in the future about DSA.
When we talk
taking
about
over.
2028,
Uh-huh.
defeating DSA now will make it easier to defeat MAGA in 2028.
Okay, but what can be done? Hong is headed towards victory.
Again, she
We can
sit
say,
out,
let's sit
and
out and hope that
don't
she
let her
loses
win
to
the
MAGA,
general.
I guess that's the solution.
So what if she wins? What's the strategy then?
If she wins, then we have a much harder time.
Do we need
getting
a really
moderate
moderate
candidates
candidate
that
for
can win in
Republicans
swing
so that
states.
the moderate Republican can beat her in 2030, whatever. Like,
wait,
this is so crazy. Wait, why don't you stop being a pussy and just say you want MAGA to win instead of like, I'll sit it out. You're doing the same exact shit.
It's not being
You're
a
not
pussy.
saying it
I'm
with
being
your chest.
honest.
All right, all right.
I'm being straightforward.
You
Yeah, let
prefer
me-
she loses, which means MAGA wins. So you prefer MAGA wins.
All
Just
right,
say
hold
that.
on, hold on.
You won't say it because
I
you
want to
don't want the optics
interrogate.
of
I
it.
want to interrogate the claim that, like, you said that we're understating the threat of DSA. I'm just curious.
Yes.
Do you think that, for example, like Do you think that the threat of DSA is literally that in 10 years' time, 40% of the country are going to think that we shouldn't have any immigration enforcement?
So
Are you afraid of their specific ideology and policy platform actually being broadly popular with the electorate?
Well, no, but they don't need to be popular with the electorate because they're not popular with the electorate now to get into positions of influence and power within the party to make the party have bad positions that cause us to never win an election again.
Did that happen with Biden, for example? I mean, he didn't adopt any of the like crazy positions. He made concessions to the left, but he didn't make concessions to like DSA. He wasn't like super extreme, right?
Sure, and Biden was a great president, and he made some concessions to the progressives. But I agree with you that the threat of DSA is that they can rat fuck the party and help Republicans win future elections. But I just when I look at their past performances and just the trend lines that have occurred throughout this entire era of Trump, it's just so obvious that they will never be broadly popular enough to. So like their illiberalism to me is like, I think it's bad. Arguments about MAGA when in 2012, 2011, 2013, when the Tea Party was starting getting ready and MAGA was just kind of like a baby in the crib. I heard those same arguments from many of my Republican friends.
But DSA's policy platform is considerably less popular than MAGA's, like by orders of magnitude, right?
Now,
like
yes.
Well, that's why I asked you. Do you think it's plausible that like in 10 years, 40% of the country are going to say like we shouldn't have borders or immigration enforcement?
I think it's possible. Is it likely? I don't know how likely. I can't give you.
I don't think that's going to happen.
So
I really.
Wait! I'm triggered by chat. Everyone's saying I don't have this fucking energy for lefties. Doesn't know who the fuck I am and how I've been yelling at them for the past 2 years about how they threw away their fucking power and votes. Shut the fuck up.
To be clear, hey, I just want to make it clear too. Soy Pill's my buddy. Everyone here is my buddy.
My boy.
We like each other. We're friends.
I know you can take it.
We're fighting.
Yeah. I wouldn't be yelling at Wick this hard if I didn't love him. Okay?
Exactly. I don't call people. If I didn't respect you, I wouldn't be fighting you. I'd be like, okay, whatever, and just go.
Wait, Josiah had a question. I want to hear it.
Yeah. So Wick, I'll take what Hutch said there at face value. I don't know what the relative polling popularity is between DSA's positions versus MAGA's or the Tea Parties, but Hutch, knows what he's talking about. So let's just take that at face value. So there's so many differences between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, DSA and MAGA and the Tea Party. One thing that frustrates me when I see this in my mentions, all of my fucking mentions about, well, look what happened to Republicans, look what happened to Republicans. And when we go through all the many reasons that the differences, the major differences between the two parties, it seems like it just goes right over people. It just washes off. The fact that something happened to the Republican Party does not mean that it will happen to the Democratic Party.
Not necessarily.
Correct. So,
but do you think we're like immune to it?
I think that it is much less likely. I'm not going to sit here and say that in no timeline in the multiverse could some sort of MAGA style takeover of the Democratic Party occur, but you, in my opinion, should be justifying your fear, because the other thing is this. You have the fact that the Republican Party is much more demographically and ideologically homogenous compared to the Democratic Party. You have what Hutch said about the relative popularity of the positions that the fringe elements took before they eventually conquered the Republican Party. And you have the fact that constitutionally speaking, the Democratic Party is infinitely more likely to fight amongst themselves and to eject not only members, but leaders. We effectively kicked out the sitting president of the United States, the most powerful person in the world, because we thought he was an electoral liability. Yes. The Republican Party is just not capable of that. And then the other thing is this. Okay. We just don't see a history of it in the Democratic Party. And despite all of these differences, nobody has yet to account for that. Nobody who takes your position, not Destiny, not Mooten, not you, nobody has said, okay, here's why I still fear that this thing could occur within the Democratic Party.
I can lay it out. So this idea that we don't have a history of this is just not true. If you look at the party from 2012 and its evolution to today, we have much more left-leaning people of influence and power. Like, for example, last cycle, it would have been unheard of for anyone to be campaigning with Hassan Piker. That just would not have happened.
Oh my God.
Right?
I mean, he wasn't involved in that kind of shit. He himself didn't involve himself in that. That's the metric?
No, that's one of the metrics. Are you saying I'm wrong? That if Hassan
Yeah,
Piker
no,
was
Pisco,
doing
I
it
mean,
back
the
then, that
Overton window
people would be
shifted
campaigning with
substantially
him
in the
back
last 10
then?
years.
I don't think
like-
he
No,
would.
that's not what he just said. No. I agree that the party has become more left-wing. Part of the reason you know that is because Joe Biden was the most progressive president of our lifetime. And Joe Biden was influenced heavily by people like Bernie Sanders and other, very left-wing members of the Democratic Party. I'm not denying that, but the question is, like, if the metric is Hassan Piker wouldn't have done that back in the day,
That's
or
an
Hassan Piker
example.
didn't do that with them. Okay, but isn't it the whole complaint that he didn't used to do this kind of like intervention for
My
Democrats?
whole complaint with
Whoa,
Hassan
whoa,
is he's
whoa,
a
hang
terrorist
on, hang on.
supporting anti-Semite.
That-
Whether
that-
he
that-
campaigns
that-
with us or not,
that-
isn't
that-
really.
Keith said he joined, by the way. I just
That
texted
feels-
him. Keith
oh.
said he'll join.
Okay.
if
That
you guys-
feels a bit disingenuous, Pisco. Because like
Wait, what's disingenuous?
Because you're saying like, well, wasn't the complaint that he wasn't out there like supporting Democrats? It's like, well, that's not really what we're talking about, right?
No.
He's only out there right now
saying
supporting.
something different. I'm saying something different. What I'm saying is, if he was not like even involving himself in that time period, then there's nothing to compare X versus Y, right? I agree
see.
that like it's not the whole like him not being involved in favor of Kamala or Biden, that kind of stuff. I'm just saying
I understand,
in
I
terms
understand.
of yeah, okay, that's all I'm saying.
So,
Did you send him the link, Josiah?
I'm sending it right now via
Okay.
Twitter DM.
okay, great, and he can
Who-
get in there.
fuck,
What,
bro.
what
Dude,
side
Rick-
is
I can
he
fight
on
1, 2,
here?
3, 4, 5, 6 of you. But here's the thing. In this Pisco, this is a problem I have with you. Like, I'm trying to paint a picture of a wall, and every time I paint a brick, you're like, we gotta stop at the brick and we gotta litigate this brick right now. Let me get through it, and then you can take me brick by brick if you
Is
like.
the overall that the party has shifted to the left? If it's that, I'll grant it. Yes, it's true.
Okay, well, that just shifting to the left isn't sufficient for this, right? And I think we both agree on that. It wouldn't be sufficient to make my case.
Yeah, agreed.
It does kind of show that the party can change over time, right? Like, Josiah, you're
Yeah.
pointing to a snapshot of right now. You don't think, and not, to be clear, I agree with you. Like, this instant, tomorrow we're not going to have DSA just take over in a night of the broken glass, like light of the long knives. That's not going to happen. But my fear is this is going to start a ball rolling that's going to be harder and harder and harder to stop as it gets bigger and bigger.
Right, but
and
what's the way to
bigger.
stop that, Wick? Better policies, better politicians, winning primaries, not electing MAGA so that they
We
don't
have some of
the position for a few years.
Okay.
Like, you need to be able to like nip this in the bud. If we talked about how Republicans should have
How-
stopped
how was
MAGA,
Biden's
would it be,
policies?
we should have elect more
How was
Democrats.
Biden's
Like, that's not
policies?
what they'd be saying. They
How
say
was
we need
Biden's
to
policies?
run better MAGA
Was Biden's policies
anti-MAGA
good?
politicians.
Overall?
What? Yeah.
Biden's policies. Was that
course.
sufficient to win?
No, you
Exactly.
need better rhetoric.
So saying we can just win by better policies is kind of silly, right?
Okay, how are you stopping the DSA wave other than maybe hoping MAGA wins? What's your other prescription?
The other prescription, better messaging is number one. Acknowledging the threat that DSA, like one of the reasons DSA gets away with what it gets away with is because people are like, well, they're just like us. They're just, they're democratic socialists in the way that maybe Pisco is, or the way that maybe Soy Pill is.
I'm not a
And we like
democratic
Pisco.
socialist.
You,
I'm a
you know what I
social
mean, though?
democrat,
They're
Wick.
like they're
Don't get it
left
mixed up.
leaning. They're progressive. They call themselves progressives, and they change what they call themselves in different venues, by the way, right? But they get away by masking on, and people just kind of letting them in, right? So by identifying the threat, by kind of unmasking them, by kind of forcing people to really reckon with what they actually stand for and what they're actually trying to do, I think a lot of people were like, whoa. They really want to abolish prisons? That's fucking crazy. And I think that goes a long way. But I think that one of the reasons they get away with it is, like I said, no one takes them serious. And it's insidious. And that's why it's very, very dangerous.
Right,
We
right.
all
Okay,
recognize the threat of
so
MAGA. All of us.
As political commentators, we can all look at these shitty positions and say these are shitty positions, right? I don't think anyone here is disagreeing with this. Abolish prisons is fucking ridiculous, right? But if you're asking what does the Democratic Party do when you say we need to cut them out of the tent, we need to get rid of this cancer, we need to stop the stone from rolling down the hill. Okay,
Stop
so
campaigning
we
with them.
message better, right?
You mean
I
like
agree with
publicly?
that.
For them.
He means like
Stop
publicly
voting for them.
disavowing them, distancing yourself from their
Sure.
policies. Like Biden did that. To be honest with you,
Right.
When Biden said, "I am the party," when people were trying to tie him to like Bernie's policies, and so like I guess Wick, I'm just saying like I think the better outcome would be Hong wins, and then we have like sensible Democrats that are in positions of leadership that have platforms and influence to do exactly that, to just say like, listen,
Look, I hope I'm.
the
I hope
voters
I'm
made
wrong.
their decision in Wisconsin, but obviously the Democratic Party
I
is
hope
never
I'm
going
wrong.
to support getting rid of borders.
Yeah, I just
All right,
really
am I
hope
throwing
I'm
in
wrong.
Keith, guys?
I
He's
hope
here.
Okay,
Yeah.
bring him on.
All right. Seven people. This is the most libs
6v1.
learning we've ever had.
Yo, what up, Keith?
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
I
Good,
think
buddy.
your
You?
mic-
Doing well, man.
Wait,
Good.
Double check you're using the right
using
mic.
your,
Go to settings at the bottom and then make sure it's the right mic there.
Yeah, it might be using
Certified
your
little
earbuds.
Brady Bunch here.
Is that
I'm gonna put Wick in
Yeah,
the
I think
center
that
though.
fixes it.
There we go.
Hold on, do another mic check. Keith, do another mic
Test.
check for us.
Hello?
Yeah,
Hi.
There you go.
There you
That's
go.
better. Yep.
all right? There we go. Hi.
How's it
Welcome to
going? What's
Live
your
and
take
Learn.
on
Nice
all
to meet
this?
you.
This is a lot of men. This is a lot of men.
It's the manliest podcast there is.
Oh my
Hell
god.
yeah.
So Keith, what you said you could only be here for 20 minutes. So weigh in on this. We're curious.
What is the topic at hand? I was gonna yell that in your chat, Hutch. So,
D-
I'm grateful
DSA
to be.
A bigger threat than MAGA right now. That's the
Is
topic.
DSA a bigger threat than MAGA?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's broader discourse about the concept of blue no matter who, and Wick is taking
Where
the
should
position
our
that-
lines be? Where
Yeah,
should
yeah.
our lines be? Is it blue no matter
Well,
who?
here's the thing. Here's
Yeah.
what I don't like is I think like there's a lot of personalities on Twitter who are doing this, and I really try not to do it. I think attacking the factions within the left does not help anyone. And I think like one of the things that MAGA has done for better or for worse is they're kind of, I mean, we're seeing it splinter now, but they're pretty cohesive. And I think like when it comes to most things, I think everyone on this live stream probably agrees on most of the big things, right?
Yes.
And so it's like that small 5%, it just doesn't feel like we're all on the same team. Maybe that sounds like really like naive or something, but I think like we're all trying to like work towards in the same direction.
Well,
and we might have,
Let me push back. I don't think the DSA has the same end goals as liberals and progressives. They want to go far further than that. They want to end capitalism,
I think
right?
they have an extreme endpoint, but I do think the DSA does want to get to the same. We are all going in the same direction. I think they have a more extreme end.
I disagree.
Than say like liberalism, but I don't think they are totally different.
Sure.
I don't think they're like.
I mean, they literally say
define
we're not
different,
Democrats. We're using the Democrats, and like, don't get me wrong. Just to push back on this, Keith, I am totally for criticizing these people. The people that say you can't punch left, I think, are very, very stupid. They just don't want the heat. I think Wick is totally fine to call these people out. My issue with Wick is that he says, "Well, to beat them, we need to let MAGA win."
Vote for
I'm fine
Tom
with
Tiffany in
criticizing these
Wisconsin.
people, primarying these people. Look at what happened with Cory Bush, with Jamal Bowman. If you don't like these people, once they get the power, this is the time where we say, "Well, no, this is bad. You're passing bad policy. Let's get rid of these."
I just think there's like not this like inherent evil with some people on the left just because they see things a little differently than you
Well,
do.
no, that's not.
all.
That's not
Well,
why. It's not because they see things differently, right? It's because they want to do things that I think that would fundamentally destroy our party and destroy America, and they hang out and are boosted by people. That
How
I do
many
find
DSA
evil.
members are there? Aren't there like only like 100,000 or something?
Yeah.
Doesn't take
So, like,
much.
But
But
come on,
here's
you're
the
really
thing,
worried
Keith.
about 100,000 people are going to destroy
there's-
the country?
There are polls showing
Like, it
that
just
like
feels
a
like
third,
again, this feels like misplaced.
I think it's more about their oversized
Influence.
impact on the discourse. So it's true that very few people in this country identify as like an authoritarian leftist or like an actual Marxist, or could even like define what those words mean.
But DSA is not made up with people who think they're Marxists or.
Oh no! Wait, hang on. No,
But no, I'm saying there
We
are
gotta bring
people
out the
in
flow chart.
DSA.
Like
There are
16
people in
different factions.
DSA who think they are Marxists. Yes. who
No,
believe
that's the whole. But no, that's the whole org. That's the
No,
entire
no.
organization.
Like, do you believe in everything in the Democratic Party?
No, I don't. But I'm saying like the
Okay,
organization
well then there's
DSA
a lot of people
are.
in the DSA who
no,
also
no.
do not agree with like that. Like what do they put like those things that they believe in? I don't know what.
Have you
what-
read
Abolish
their-
prisons
Wait,
and,
wait,
and
wait,
everything.
hold
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
Have
That
you
shit's
read
nuts.
their-
I was
have
at a
you read their
DSA meeting
platform?
3 weeks ago, and they were like, a majority of the people who were there were like, "Yeah, that shit's insane." The thing is like there's a discrepancy. There's like there's internal debates too of like where the DSA wants to head. And there's a huge difference between the national DSA versus local chapters.
Well,
and I think that's something.
I mean, listen, I take your point. You can have chapters that are maybe more moderate than others, but if I go to the DSA platform, the very first thing at the very top here asks, imagine taking a day off from work and a future without capitalism. That's the very first thing that they mentioned on their website. And so, you can say that you went to a meeting and there were people that were more chill, but the organization is like very definitionally.
I understand. And I think
anti-capitalist, anti-liberal.
Yes, I think the people at the top of the DSA, but I think there's also like this fight within the DSA to decide in what direction.
No one hates DSA more than the internal members. All they do is fight. But first of all, guys, if anyone called me a sweeper before, I think you can say I'm strictly to the right of Keith on the defense here. This is very clearly like, all right, like they want very different things than the current Democratic Party. They want to use the Democratic Party to achieve those things. I think you're downplaying the severity of how bad it could get. I'm just saying MAGA's worse right now.
Well, wait a minute. So this is something new because I didn't realize this. Of course, it's because I don't obsess over it. But the DSA platform was not voted on by its 100,000 members. Is that correct? It was approved.
No, they have a convention and they have their
there's a convention
and they vote on the platform. So it's democratized within the institution.
No, there's a vote. I don't know how the whole process works, but it's not like every member is voting on the platform.
Well, and also,
it's like you're a Democratic Party member.
Platform.
Did you vote on the Democratic Party platform?
No, but if it was so disanalogous to what you believed, would you call yourself a Democrat, or would you say, "Hey, I'm an independent and I don't really agree with most of this, but I'm going to vote as a Democrat"? Right? Like you wouldn't be a paying member of an organization that was that antithetical to what you truly believed, right?
I also think
you would. I think you would.
It's a bit of a cop out to say. Sorry, Keith. I'll just be real quick. It's a bit of a cop out to say. I'm not attacking you on this, Keith, but some of these DSA people are. They're like, I'm not associated with the national. I'm with the local. Well, Hong did that from Wisconsin. I looked up her Madison branch, and sure enough, there's a working group to abolish prisons in there. When she said she doesn't support that, so I feel like the local groups are pretty much in line with the national too.
I mean, that's just hasn't been my experience, but yeah, I mean, I guess you could paint with a broad brush and.
Well, I think I think there would be like unfairly mischaracterizing a group, and then there's taking their national platform. I think like the Democratic Party national platform similarly defines the party when those things are relevant every 4 years. And I just don't understand this idea that we
would disgrace to MAGA. Like if someone was like, well, I don't vote with Trump on everything, and there's some things I disagree with MAGA brand, but 80% of the time, 75% of the time, they identify as MAGA, we wouldn't grant them this grace. Why are we doing it for these guys?
Is it MAGA or MAGA?
I don't fucking know.
Make America.
I would like to know. MAGA. I think it's MAGA. Don't give them the soft A. They don't deserve it.
The hard A.
Good one.
I think with peace and love in my heart, I feel like, Keith, you're sane washing a little bit. There's this concept in those circles of entryism where these groups will deliberately infiltrate, parties like the Democratic Party, and then they run on populist, broadly like popular economic policies like, rent control or, lower taxes for middle income and low income people and subsidized healthcare. But the whole point is to sort of like hollow out the institution and rebuild it in their image, or do what they call like a dirty break where they get enough support.
Are you a DSA member, Keith?
I'm a DSA member. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So Keith, do you support those things we've talked about, like abolishing
No.
prison?
No, I don't.
Why did you
support
join
that. No.
DSA then?
Because
what made you join?
It's not. Well, first off, I think if you've ever been a part of a political group, they're more aligned with what I believe and the actions that they take than like the local Democratic club that I used to be a member of.
Yeah. What did the DSA do? What do they stand for that you think makes you want to align with them more than a Democrat?
Well, I like that they're actually action oriented and they're trying to do things locally within like New York or Florida. And they actually seem to be doing things that are changing politics for the better, in my opinion. We have Zoran Mamdani, who, if not for the DSA, AOC, if not for the DSA, wouldn't be political figures. And it just was really funny to me that the establishment is so upset about the DSA when they're actually just helping create better politicians that actually are helping the Democratic brand.
Hold on. Well, how do you square that? How do you square that with like JB Pritzker, for example, who's been really aggressive on super progressive policy? Or how do you square that with Abigail Spanberger, who signed nearly 1,000 bills into law in her first 90 days? I mean, you say like DSA are the ones that are action oriented, but I just never hear a peep about politicians like Shapiro, who has like God tier net approval.
No. I'm saying like Amazon is fighting a bill that's going through the city council in New York that would make it so that delivery drivers who do the last mile here in New York City have to actually be Amazon employees. Right now, they're contractors. And so they've been taking a lot of actions around that to help push that through the process of the city council. That's what I mean.
Sure, but that's not
I don't feel
the DSA.
Yeah, I don't feel like that's a DSA thing.
That's not a DSA exclusive.
That is the DSA. No, the DSA is like
that.
They find specific things like that help workers, like bills like that, and they try to make sure that they are putting pressure on the politicians to get it passed, and also making people aware that Amazon and other companies
are trying
Democrats
to fight it.
Well, Keith, to bridge the gap,
no,
here, I think
you don't think. Hold on.
Whoa.
You don't think Democrats have stood up for the working class again and again and again with bill after bill after bill? Spanberger is a pretty good
Democrats
example.
are organized like that on the local level. That's what I mean.
So you're saying the local Democratic chapters don't have that?
No, I've been in local Democratic chapters. They literally exist to help the members of Congress and the local electeds stay in power. That's the whole point. And trust me, there's no activism at the Democratic clubs, at least the ones in New York City.
Doesn't
you're
that
saying
seem
the
a little
local
bit,
game,
doesn't that
in
seem
your
a little bit
opinion?
broad?
Well,
I mean, like,
wait a minute,
doesn't
just to clarify here. So what you're saying is, so if I understand you correctly, because they're hitting you with like statewide and national figures. And to be clear, Keith, and I'm sure you would agree, there is an overstatement on the part of the left that Democrats never get anything done. You know that's bullshit. Like, you know, again, Spanberger is a good example. Joe Biden got a lot done. Like, there is a lot of movement at the national and state level from quote-unquote establishment Democratic figures. But you're saying at the local level, in your experience, the DSA there was more game in town for the local chapter of the DSA, and that's why, because you're in New York, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So you know, you signed up with the New York DSA because for local issues you preferred them as opposed to the Democratic Party.
Yes. And as I'm saying, I mean, I know you all want to be like DSA is a little. I'm not a Marxist. You know, I consider myself to be like a social democrat. You know, and there's a lot of people like me, but I say the main people who go to these meetings are just more progressive Democrats. And so it's I don't know, like, but I understand like the party platform and that lady that went on Fox News.
The biggest faction in
but
the
also,
DSA
like,
are
why
Marxists.
can't I be a member of something and trying to do what I can to put my beliefs onto the party, onto the group too? So it's like, I think
you
like
can't
this
do that.
idea
The
of like
argument is
having
that the majority of DSA is Marxist-Leninist, and their end goals are not the same as yours if you truly aren't a Marxist-Leninist.
Wait,
no, they're not.
Is the argument that the Democratic Socialists are Marxist-Leninists?
Well, I don't know about ML specifically, but like definitely like
Marxists.
One of the largest
Marxists,
factions within the DSA are Marxist explicitly.
Guys, should we get a woman's voice in here?
Not Marxist-Leninist.
Keith already said about how all the testosterone on here.
Do it.
All right, let's do another panel.
Well,
we could get nine. We could fit 9 people in here.
Time anyway.
I do have to. I do have something. I do have to get to, but
Hi, Anne.
I do want to thank you for coming on.
Are you a card-carrying
Keith
DSA
Edwards,
member?
and
What do you have to
proving
say
me
about
right in real
this?
time. Nice to see you.
No, can you guys hear me? Well, I've never done it this way before. Okay, that's good. Wick, I thought you missed me. What happened? You're all of a sudden you have to go now.
Well, because I had the Liberal Action Network thing I have to do, and I told them I'd push it back a little bit because I wanted to fight the good fight here. But
this is more important.
No, I'll give you 10 minutes and then I have to go.
There's good liberal work to be done, Wick. Come on.
Yes, that's why I'm here. I'll give you 10 minutes and then I do have to fulfill my responsibilities. So.
True.
All right,
I
say
don't
your
want to
piece.
interrupt. I know you guys were just in the middle of something.
You've already interrupted. Now you have to keep going.
For what it's worth, I just want to say, Keith, just to put a button on it, like I am not going to deny your experience with DSA, and I don't share, Wick's contempt for DSA or even Hutch's to the extent that they do. Now, I do think that there is an illiberal strain within the upper echelons of DSA.
I don't know. Hang on. I don't know why people are saying it is like this. It's not an illiberal strain. That is from the top down.
Is AOC a liberal? Is AOC a liberal in your estimation?
She's not the top down. She's a DSA endorsed candidate.
Didn't they disavow her?
So wait a minute. So wait a minute.
Why are you fighting me on this? Why are you fighting me on this?
Because you want to paint the entire DSA as illiberal, and I reject that category. I just categorically reject that.
Yeah. Listen, I don't know. Have you read their platform?
I've read their platform, but this is where I think Keith has a fair point, which is this idea that literally every single candidate or every single member of the DSA must co-sign the illiberal extreme of the national platform.
No. But the national platform,
reject it.
That is the party identity, though. But I feel
so wait a minute. So to be clear, you agree then that AOC and Zoran Mamdani are illiberal. You cannot be a liberal member of the DSA.
No,
right?
That's
not. He's saying the majority of them are going to probably follow the national platform.
You're trying to find a contradiction. You're not.
No, I found it. I found it. You're fucked.
No, but she governs like a pragmatic, progressive liberal, and she's DSA aligned. She's still,
take AOC out. What about Mamdani? Mamdani has not been disavowed by AOC or by the DSA. Is Zoran Mamdani illiberal?
I would say so. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I'll be right back. 1 second. I don't mean to bail. I'll be right back. 1 second.
Yeah, Josiah here. I'll argue for Edge because I agree with him here. Like the idea that this isn't a majority of this coalition.
I did not say even majority. I said the idea that literally every single member.
No one's saying there aren't exceptions. They're saying this is the DSA, this is the org, this is their national platform, and this is what they're pushing. Like, why would you be a part of an org if you're that opposed to communism in the long run? If you're that opposed to seizing private property, if you're that opposed to this national platform,
can you be a liberal who is not opposed to communism?
I don't know if you can have liberal communism. No.
Okay, so then by definition, there can be no liberal member of the DSA, right? You're boxed in. So
there are people in the DSA who do not support communism.
Literally,
the party
it sounds like Keith is one of these people who is just like, no, even though a majority of the people kind of want this illiberal communist
how can
seizing
Keith
of private
possibly
property
be liberal? How can Keith
because in the short term, this is not big enough for him to like. It's like, look, they're pushing more progressive, they're fighting harder, they're organizing, and maybe that's their end goal, but it's so far in the future that it doesn't matter to me, right?
Then I can be a liberal member of the DSA.
I didn't say you couldn't. I'm just saying that clearly the majority. No, I'm saying you probably can't be a liberal.
Can you be a liberal MAGA?
You said that.
No,
DSA,
Josiah, can you be a liberal MAGA guy?
DSA supports communism, right?
Liberal
the national platform.
Yeah.
Right, Soy Pill?
Yeah.
How can you be part of an organization that has such an illiberal?
Yeah. What's the point?
So you're asking what the efficacy is, not that it's
obviously
not possible.
People are part of it that are
okay. Well, then we're good. Then
okay, 100%. Yeah, we didn't disagree. The fear was not, can you be an exception in this? The fear is, hey, these people do not have the same goals, the same end goals as you. Some people in it do, some people don't. Most probably don't if they are Marxist-Leninists or Marxists.
I'm assuming.
Keith, then we agree that Keith is a liberal member of DSA, and it's possible to be liberal members of the DSA.
I don't know if he's
telling
liberal
the truth.
or not.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I just don't know why you're fighting so much on this one particular thing, Josiah. Like, instead of just acknowledging that this is an organization.
Yeah, why is that, Josiah?
It is fundamentally Marxist. It is
so Hutch, I'm going to ask you. Hutch, I'm going to ask you.
Don't get so defensive. Wait, hang on. Just listen to me.
Can you be a liberal member
What do you think
of
DSA's goals are? What do you think DSA's goals are?
I think that their goals are to abolish prisons, as they say.
No. I'm not. Listen, I'm not talking about specific policies per se, but I'm saying like their broad vision. What do you think they're trying to accomplish? Politically,
to locally or nationally?
I mean, both.
I think their goal is to fundamentally alter, like the end state is to fundamentally alter the current state of America and make it a more socialist enterprise.
Okay, then why are you fighting us on this, man?
What are you fighting us on?
Why are you fighting me when I say it is possible to
No
be
one's
a
saying
liberal
we didn't
member
fight
of
you
the
on that.
DSA? Well, wait a minute. No, 'cause
Possible, just like it's possible to be someone who is liberal and supports MAGA. It's possible.
Yeah, it's
just
Wick
not
is liberal and
likely.
supports MAGA. Come on.
Actually, I don't know. I don't know if that's the case. I have to think about that. I don't know if it's possible to be a liberal
It's possible
MAGA
in the same way
supporter.
it's possible to be liberal and support the DSA. It's
I want to ask Keith.
I do have to
as
go
a
soon. Just FYI.
Keith, I assume you're a liberal. I'm not trying to. And is that correct? Do you identify as a liberal? Are you a socialist? Like, how do you?
Liberal. Yeah.
Liberal. So,
yeah.
Are you afraid that as a liberal joining DSA that you could open the door for some of the more extremist stuff by legitimizing them?
No, I mean, I don't. What do you mean?
So you've heard some of their national.
Aren't they already legitimized?
No. But I think the concern is that we're kind of sane washing some of the more extreme stuff while you're not hearing that from the people on the ground at the meetings you're going to. But people are concerned that it's a Trojan horse to bring in this group and this ideology that undermines capitalism and liberalism. Does that concern you at all, joining a local chapter?
No, I mean, I think I personally think capitalism. I think capitalism deserves to be undermined. I don't think it is serving us as best it could right now. We used to regulate shit. We used to regulate things. I like to get into regulation again. So so yes, I think that what is Wick guy is very. Yeah.
Well, Keith, are you masking on right now? Like, can you just
He is.
tell us?
Hold on, I'll just ask you. I gotta go soon. Keith,
right now.
did Hassan Piker shock his dog?
What?
Did Hassan Piker shock his dog?
He says he didn't. No.
He says he didn't know.
What
Okay.
do we do?
Anyway,
not-
just need. That's all I needed. Okay,
know
guys,
if
I gotta go.
Keith
I love
traffic in
you
that?
all.
Keith, I don't. Do you like follow like Hassan?
I have no
Drama?
idea what that.
Okay,
I don't know.
Wick,
fair enough.
ask him a different question. 'cause
Sure.
that's-
Do you think?
that's a
Do you
good
think
one.
Hassan
You failed.
Piker
You failed. The
is
answer's
a?
yes.
Do you think Hassan Piker is a threat to the Democratic Party?
No.
Okay. Yep. That's all I needed. Okay. I'll see you guys later. I love you.
Bye,
I gotta
Wick.
go to my
So
thing.
Keith,
Terrible.
now I would disagree on that. I mean, I think that Hassan's from my experience, and I don't obsess about him quite like some of the others on this panel, but some of the shit that he has.
Give me a second, gang. Hey, gang. 1 second.
Hey, no worries.
I'm transitioning.
Yo.
We just had to fight the good fight there.
Yeah, dude, I'm sorry. I had it going. I thought it was like a recording from last night for some reason.
Nope. Nope.
Let's see.
That was live. I had to. I just don't like it. I don't like how much cover people run for those people. But, gang, we are live. We are here with the members of Liberal Action Network. And I appreciate you all being here, and I'm sorry for the delay.
Oh, it's fine.
I gotta get the wiggles out.
You're coming in hot.
It's just a fucking that Keith Edwards guy.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like him. Okay. He's like, oh, I'm just a member of the DSA because I like the local organizing.
Oh yeah.
Did you hear? Were you there for this, Jonathan Casey? Did you hear?
I heard a little bit. I heard a little bit, just here and there.
Is it at the end? Is Hassan Piker a threat to the Democratic Party? No. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Just fuck
that's
off.
the problem.
He says he is. Hassan Piker says he's a threat to the Democratic Party.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it always boils down to the argument, okay, if you're this big, massive, popular movement, go win some purple areas. Go win a purple congressional district. Go win in an area where you don't think Democrats would have won a seat.
Yes.
No, the only places that you're actually succeeding, that you're actually putting people forward and winning the primary is in deep, deep blue states. I mean, look at Mamdani. You want to talk about? They talk about how bad Kamala was. Mamdani didn't even beat her numbers in New York. Like at some point, you got to realize that.
Yeah, he had to run against like Como, who was
and he had terrible opponents. Terrible opponents. You have a slightly competent opponent versus Mamdani, he loses without a doubt. So, yeah.
But
yes. Anyway,
you did a good job.
I hope so. I didn't know him, but then I was like, who's this guy? And I checked some of his tweets, and I was like, oh shit. This guy's just a fucking. He's a problem. The Liberal Action Network is here to spread liberalism, and it's to fight against subversive elements that are trying to take over the Democratic Party, as well as fundamentally undermine things like liberalism, capitalism, and other such ideals. Keith Edwards is an example of why the Liberal Action Network exists and why it is needed. And I honestly, it wasn't planned, but we have a good, that was a good example of what we are here for. But please, I want you guys to kind of like tell people what the Liberal Action Network is, what it's about. I'm gonna tag people and see if I know a few people said they might want in and kind of get that rolling. But I want to hand the mic to you, Mr. Bishop. Introduce yourselves, then introduce the network. Go ahead.
Cool. So I think I'll introduce myself, and then I'll immediately hand it over to Jonathan to introduce himself and start the convo. But I'm Bishop. You guys have probably seen me before. I'm the Lockheed liberalism guy. Big fan of liberalism, not a big fan of authoritarianism, and whether that's the fascism that we're seeing from the MAGA movement, or whether we're seeing some of the authoritarianism from some of the hard left. I am a founding member of the Liberal Action Network, which is a really fun initiative that we've thrown together, which is already at this point in time the largest collection of liberal content creators with millions of followers and subscribers throughout the entire community. And this is Jonathan Casey from Project Liberal, if you want to introduce yourself, Jonathan.
Yeah, we started this up only a month and a half ago. It feels kind of like a whirlwind. I think that kind of speaks to how much people wanted something like this. I think as liberals, we've kind of been isolated, and we've kind of put ourselves, we kind of do things ourselves and build our own communities, but we've kind of fallen behind the 8 ball. We've had so many, we've seen so many examples of other communities like DSA, these other groups, these extremists on the far right and the far left, which they organize really well on online spaces. Now the algorithm helps them out, right? The algorithm loves that extremist content. And so I think liberals, we've kind of sat on our laurels. We've accomplished so much especially in the United States, but really around the world, with just moving individual rights forward and accomplishing so many things. We've kind of sat on our laurels and been like, oh, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. I remember when, even when Trump was elected at that time, I was thinking, oh, you know what? We'll be okay. Our institutions, they'll last it. And they did last mostly through his first term. In the second term, we've seen just a massive, a wave of assaults on our institutions that has to concern every American. But these online spaces have really, kind of been feeding grounds for these extremists on the left and the right, and they foment this type of content, and they've built these communities around that content. And so it's time we kind of stood up and said, well, hang on, we need our own community. We need our own space where we can talk, we can encourage each other, we can really build each other up. And liberals don't really have that space. We don't really have that community to really rely on, like, for example, we had a situation where somebody got doxxed in our community. So we immediately rallied around them, encouraged them. We helped report that information. And really, so many times we get attacked. We feel like we're alone. We're on an island. And this organization is really kind of there to kind of build that support. And how many young creators have just been run out of the business because they just didn't want to take the heat. They didn't want to fight that fight on their own. And so we're trying to say, hang on, we've got you. We can come alongside you. We can help you out. We can, and it's as much as it is, going on the attack, it's also going on the defense, encouraging people and saying, hey, this is still a worthwhile fight, putting out these ideas and these messages. These ideas and messages have utterly and absolutely transformed the world over the past 250 years. Absolutely. We cannot imagine how different life was 300 years ago. As a white man, As a white man, we can't imagine it. As anybody else, it's even that much more extreme. But we can't imagine how differently the world is because of what liberalism said. It said the individuals have rights. Government should be limited to certain things. We shouldn't allow, just because somebody has power, they shouldn't be able to do whatever they want over you. Whether that power is, corporate power or political power, it needs to be limited and restricted. But yeah, a little bit about myself. I've been involved in politics for 6 or 7 years now. I was a bit in the Libertarian Party for a while, kind of fought off a lot of the MAGA movement that built up over there. I started Project Liberal with a few others about 2 or 3 years ago, and really just kind of focusing on the ideas of liberalism and saying, hey, we need to put these back in the forefront. We need to be talking about these things. So many of these things we just completely take for granted, and it's really a shame, and that's something that we have to revive, and we have to keep this in our mind, and we have to understand we've gotten to where we are because of these values, and we can still get to better places with these same values. And so that's what I've really focused on. And then I was approached by Bishop and a few other people about starting the Liberal Action Network, and we'd kind of thought about something like this, but we never had that spark to get it going. And literally a month and a half ago, we were like, yeah, let's pull the trigger. We saw the idea, we loved it, we've gone all in. And the response to it's been amazing. I mean, Richard's seen how many people have jumped into jumped into the Discord. We've already got some really fantastic tools for all of the content creators. So yeah.
No, I'm excited to be a part of it. When you guys reached out to me, I was like, wow, this is something that I absolutely had been looking for and that had been missing. You're exactly correct. One of the things that is very hard as a liberal creator is you feel constantly under attack by illiberal forces, whether it be from the left or the right, whether it be from MAGA or whether it be from the DSA or from these other far left guys. You feel alone in a real way. And that's I think one of the hardest bits of it is that you don't feel anyone will support you. And because they're afraid to. And there's good reason to be afraid, because people who stand up against these bad actors get harassed. They get doxxed. They get attacked. They get death threats in their DMs, right? It's scary.
I just realized I don't have my camera on over here, so this is going to be a disaster. So I'm sorry.
You're fine. Good, it won't be a disaster. We'll make it work.
No, I'm sorry. I mean, it does apply to you guys, but I'm over here trying to do my stream on the road with one camera. Anyway, sorry. Pretend I didn't say anything.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Hey,
I guess overall, it's just having a community that is willing to stick up for one another, and when they are under attack, be like, even just a DM saying, hey buddy, I got your back. That means a lot to a creator, right? That means a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I think this situation with one of our members getting doxxed is a really great example of kind of the defensive stuff where, okay, so bringing a bunch of people that have different audiences and stuff together to push liberal messages is pretty okay, we understand how that's really valuable. But what was really nice was this individual was in our community, and he was like, hey, this is what's going on. What do you guys think? Should I do this? Should I do that? And as somebody who has been pretty viciously doxxed from both a state actor and my most serious dox was done against me by conservatives in the United States. There was a bunch of us that were able to come forward and be like, hey, we've been through this before. This is what's going to happen if you do X. This is what's going to happen if you do that. This is the best way to move forward. And this is the way that you can protect yourself, and just being able to sort of come together. I remember when I went through my shit, I just blocked people. I went on private, and then I did damage control in my life. But I think it's really helpful to have different people be able to come together from that have been through this, that have been like, I've been dropped in the tanky group chat before. I know what you're going through, and let me help out.
No, that's important. She's right. Hello, welcome.
Hi.
How you doing, Alice? What's up?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. I guess in Vince, also hello to you. I'll wait for you to get your tech issues.
I'm gonna pretend that I just decided to drop the stream. But anyways, I'm here, guys. Sorry about the random drop in note. That was one way to jump in there, guys.
But we're talking about the Liberal Action Network and what it does, who we are, what we are here for, what's our goals and things like that. I guess I'd just like to ask both of you, She's Right and Vince, and you can answer in any order you like. Why did you decide to kind of sign up with the Liberal Action Network? Why are you members?
You go first.
She's Right. If you want to go ahead.
You can go first. I'm thirsty.
Okay. Yeah, no, I decided to sign up for it. I think that we're seeing especially over the past few months, it feels like we've seen a lot of people on the further fringes of the left kind of unite around each other, and they have a really good sense of community. But liberals tend to not really have that sense of community, so to speak. And I think there's a lot of liberal creators right now that are facing a lot of backlash, given what is going on right now with the current debate scene, as we saw with our good friend Wick over here, who was like a 1v10 a minute ago.
How'd I do, guys? I'm just really curious. Did I do well? Did I knock it out of the park? I'm not sure. It's always weird in those situations.
I think you did pretty well.
Okay.
I think you did all right.
Fair enough. All right. I'll accept that. Accept all right. Okay. But
She's Right. Do you want to go?
Continue.
Yeah. So I think it's really important to be able to like advocate for stuff and have good things happen. And I am nostalgic for it now. And I didn't realize how deeply nostalgic I was for it. In the 2010s, that era of like slacktivism, we think it's cringe now, but like it was cool to care about stuff. And we built positive communities for stuff. And I think of all those movements of like, there's like feminism and body positivity and like disability advocacy and climate stuff. And there's like Black Lives Matter and all these cool things. And they're all kind of gone now. And all that's left is this like toxic bullying. Like the only thing we're allowed to talk about is like Marxism. And it's not good. And I've noticed more and more like people don't feel safe in the room anymore. And so it's just kind of like a lot of angry white dudes and a lot of people, it's just quiet and it feels grim. And it's like, that breaks my heart. And I want good things to happen. And I finally feel like the MAGA miasma is like rising. They have a chance to build something good again. And like just even looking up like politicians and like there are people who are trying and have good plans to do good things and no one cares, no one supports them. Like I want to be able to talk about that again. And we need like community for that again. And a fundamental premise of liberalism is like that kind of freedom of like free speech. Like you can't compel anyone to do anything, but having that space to and realizing like, oh, our spaces have been co-opted by honestly stalker cyberbullies is really weird. And having a movement where it's like, just, hey, let's go support each other. Someone's like being like bombarded and attacked. I'm just going to say something nice about them online. And that's like had tremendously positive, effective results. And I think that's like really, really awesome in the start of like positively getting to have conversations about things again. And that's what I want to see happen.
I think I want to touch on that point because I think you've made a really good point that doesn't get talked about enough, is that over the past decade or two, and I would probably point to Trump's nomination as the key part of this, is that we've gotten away from arguing about ideas and we've gotten more towards arguing about personalities. We've argued about these superficial things, whereas we should be arguing about ideas. What ideas put forward, what ideas work, what ideas do move our country, our nation, our society in the direction we want to go. And I think that you're right on with that point about that. We need to get back to arguing about ideas and not just personalities.
It's hard. It's hard. One of the tactics I think that the illiberal side is using is they will make it personal. And so it becomes hard not to talk about personalities. But you're correct. One of the things that I hope that this coalition will do is give us more breathing room to make it less personal for us, and to be able to defend liberalism as a concept and as an idea. Because it's so easy for the enemy, for other people to say, you just don't like Hassan because he was mean to you on Twitter, or you don't like these people because you fought with them on a stream once. No, the reason I'm fundamentally opposed to DSA, to MAGA, is because they are fundamentally illiberal, and liberalism matters. Liberalism is the only ism that provides consistent, solid protection for individual rights, so that I can be, if I wanted to be Christian, if I want to be atheist, if I want to be LGBT, if I want to be Muslim, if I want to be anything, right? Liberalism will protect you from the state. Whereas populism, whereas MAGA, whereas socialism, communism, all these other isms, as soon as the winds shift, you're vulnerable. Liberalism provides institutions that protect you from the state. And I think that that's an important thing that gets lost. And again, it's hard to talk about these concepts because they always bring it to like, well, you just lost a debate to him. That's why you're mad at him. And no, that's not why. It's because he's trying to erode these fundamental institutions that are protecting me, that are making my life easier, that are making me more prosperous. And that's a problem for me.
Well, this is one of the things that I think was like being touched upon in the conversation you were just in during Live and Learn, where there was sort of this dialogue that was like, okay, well, so if you're stuck between choosing from like a communist and MAGA, like why are you not choosing either? Shouldn't you choose the not MAGA? And I think the people that are saying that, they're people that have, because of the two-party system, they have been sort of pushed into the political left, and they think that you and them are the same. So they don't have a problem with communism. They could criticize it in the same way that you could criticize anything, but they don't have a particular problem. And the way I see it is like, if I was in Wisconsin and we have Hong winning the primary, I'm like, cool, I lost the election. I've lost. Like, it's not a matter like, okay, we can start getting strategic now and start, talking about election dates and committees and what goes to what, and we can start piecing that together. And there is a strategic conversation there. But Hong, just because she's managed to, just because a socialist or a communist, or if you care to differentiate, it has managed to work their way onto the Democratic ballot, that doesn't mean that they're a liberal, and that doesn't mean that they are putting forward liberal values. And so I think that's one of the big confusing points for a lot of these like more progressive people that are further left on the spectrum. And I think they aren't necessarily grounded by the same fundamental philosophies. Yeah. It's a tough conversation for them.
Yeah, I mean, and this is kind of the interesting thing. I had this conversation before with last night on a TikTok panel, which, by the way, if you think that leftists on YouTube are like far left, you should really go on TikTok sometime. It's a pretty wild place. There's certainly further left people on there. I got chastised for saying this. It was interesting to me that in 2024, anytime we would make the argument of saying, hey, look, if you don't vote for Kamala Harris, you're about to get Trump, who is vehemently worse than Kamala when it comes to Israel and Palestine, which was the big topic at the time. And now they're using that same argument of, well, vote for the DSA candidate, because if you don't, then it's going to be MAGA. It's like, well, wait a minute. Why should I, and this is me being petty, but it is a very valid argument in my opinion, why should I as a liberal, when you didn't side with us, why now do you want me to side with you when you want your candidate in office, when I don't necessarily ascribe to that particular candidate? And I think that point really, I've not still reconciled that. There's a lot of give, but not a lot, a lot of take, but not a lot of give, right? They want you to vote for their candidate. Now, and I've posed this, turned it around. I said, okay, this is your belief, is that it's essentially a vote blue no matter who idea, in the sense of vote for the DSA candidate because it's better than MAGA. Are you going to hold that same sentiment when right now, and again, right now, all polling suggests we're likely to have a Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom, or Pete Buttigieg candidacy, maybe AOC, depending on which poll you look in there. It's still early. I understand that. But if one of those three candidates, will we see them that are now touting this for their DSA candidate in the midterms, are they going to now stand by that candidate? I don't believe they will.
Well, that's the crux of it, right? It's they want to hold us to a standard, and they don't want to follow that standard for themselves. And that's why it's important to emphasize the standard, what actually is the standard. Blue no matter who was a mistake. It was a shorthand that should never have gotten the traction it did because it's being used and utilized by bad actors for a purpose it was never intended for. I think that the real crux of it, at least for me, is I will vote for the candidate that best represents my values, liberalism. Other edge cases aside, like lesser evil voting is a thing, and I can understand why people would do it. But to your point, Bishop, you're exactly right. Hong winning the primary means I lost the election. There is no liberal choice, and so why would I put my backing, my credibility, my name behind a candidate I don't believe in, right? At a fundamental level that doesn't share my values, to be clear.
And here's the thing, like I think this is important too, is the elections, the office fucking matters. And that was, by the way, that was a point that you brought up. The office matters. There's a difference in voting for somebody for the United States Senate and voting for somebody on a fucking city council. And so I think that, like, when we're talking about the goddamn United States presidency, that's one that really matters. So when you throw the presidency under the bus, don't even let's start off with acknowledging that there is a colossal difference in throwing the presidency under the bus and a governorship. The conversation begins there. And I think that, like I said, I do believe that there is some strategic stuff to be hammered out where you're like, okay, well, this specific office is going to come in and maybe they're going to impact this committee on this date and then this can be done. But that's down the line. That's not a matter of like, oh, well, then I guess you're just a closeted Republican, because it's not that simple. It's not a matter of, oh, well, this is a binary choice and this is going to go one way or the other, because, like, here's the other thing. You are not getting reciprocity from this community. If you fall into this trap of vote blue no matter who, you're like, okay, well, you got, a big time communist up there, but I'm going to vote blue no matter who, and you got to promise me you're going to get me on the next election. Well, I got bad news for you, because they had a good reason to not vote for Hillary Clinton. They had a good reason not to vote for Joe Biden. And then they had a good reason to not vote for Kamala Harris. And they will have a good reason to not vote for your candidate every single time. And this time it was Israel and Palestine. Next time, we can't even fucking imagine what it's going to be.
I don't even mind. I don't even mind if they don't vote for my candidate. But what they vote for and what they advocate for is illiberal candidates. And that is a problem for me. One of the things that I want Liberal Action Network to do, and I hope we succeed at, is to promote and get us back to liberal values. Liberalism's got to be sexy again. It's got to be sexy again. It's got to be something that
we
people
need to get Maya in
here,
be,
right? I mean, I'm trying my best here, but I'm only one man, okay? But you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying.
I've lost 60 pounds over the past 2 years, so I'm getting there.
Congratulations.
Nice.
Yeah, but
I'm
like it's got to be
gained
something that people want to. That want to we gotta stop apologizing for it. One of the things that, for whatever reason, and I have some theories, but people feel like they have to apologize before they have to say a liberal. They do it like they can't look people in the eye when they say it, right? They're like, I'm a liberal, but I don't like the establishment. I don't like what the Democrats are doing, and they got a throat clear for it. No, I'm a liberal. I believe in liberal values. Whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and I think, it's always going to be it's always going to be somewhat of a difficult thing to, like, make radical in a stream, because being edgy is always entertaining. Like, you have people, this is why you have people that when they're 17, they are fascist neo-Nazis, and by the time they're 23, they're outward communists, is because when you get into the radical fringes, when you get into the extremes, it's easier to make things entertaining and make things content. But we can't govern a country that way, and the problem is that things have gone a little too far. And so I really do think, like, I remember the end of Trump 1 presidency, and just like the entire country was just like essentially at this boiling point where they just wanted to plug their fingers into their ears, and they were like, I just want it to stop. There's a new scandal every other week. I used to be able to not pay attention to the news for months at a time, and that's when we were in a war in the Middle East, and now I've got to pay attention to the news multiple times a week, and I don't give a fuck who's in office. I just want it to stop. And I feel like we're barreling down that road at 120 miles an hour all over again. But on both ends of the spectrum now.
Yeah. Well, and I think and I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think that that's one thing, when I look at these particular candidates, I can just look at them based upon policy positions. Today, I ended up listening to the Haley Stevens and Abdul Al-Said debate. And the one thing that I could not stop getting through my head is he kept harping on things just from a pure take party outside of this. The policies that they're running on are a lot of, like, for all the criticisms they levied against Kamala Harris about platitudes, because that was levied from the left, is that it's all platitudes, it's just lip service. I'm hearing almost the same thing from El Said. It's like he keeps going back to his medical background and how I went and helped the kids here. Okay, that's cool. That's great. How are you what is your pragmatic approach? I'm glad that you as a person who's running for Senate is going to try to implement these grandiose ideas. How are you going to do that with the Republican president? Do you think that Donald Trump is really going to sit there and sign universal health care over? How do you plan on doing that? And even furthermore, he uses a lot of these words like, well, I'm going to stop foreign money getting into, I'm stop foreign aid. Okay, how are you going to do that? Explain how. Haley Stevens, albeit the shtick thing is kind of weird, but at least she's saying, hey, I'm going to target the tariffs. Okay. There's been some leg room in Congress that's been trying to eliminate some of the power that the president's had with tariffs. I'm going to go after DTE. I don't know too much about that, but she's giving targeted approaches, whereas Al Said is just kind of like universal health care, free child lunches or whatever it was, and just like broad. Okay, how? Tell me how. You as a Senate, how are you going to do that? I can't even, as a candidate, if I were to put politics aside, I don't even know how I could support that. Now, their argument would be, well, the other option is a MAGA candidate. Why do we have to live in a binary in that regard too? Like, at the end of the day, I would still be struggling with that choice. Like, I don't want to vote for El Said. I also don't want a MAGA candidate. And now I'm put in a precarious position that I know that they're not going to do. So it's a very difficult position as a liberal to be in, because you know what the other outcome is, but you also don't want to support the DSA. Oh, this is what I was going to say, and I'll land here. Is that I think the DSA right now knows that the economy is bad, that the Main Street ideas or Main Street policies, the economy's bad, healthcare costs are going through the roof. Those two things are what Americans care about the most. I guarantee you go to a random person on the street, they don't know what the hell the DSA is. You're going to say DSA and they're going to be like, is that my local hospital? Like, I don't know what that is. So they're going to see certain wins just because the economy is bad. They're going to see certain wins just because healthcare costs are going up, everything's going up. And they're going to go, yeah, see, we win. The DSA policy is so great. It's like, okay, yeah, go ahead and run that in a state like Texas. Good try. That's not going to work in Texas.
Okay, housekeeping thing. I do have to do a couple things, but we're not ending the show. I'm just going to put Bishop in charge to lead the discussion, and I will be back in like 5 minutes. Okay, I'm sorry about this.
Godspeed, Wick. But yeah, I mean, we're definitely in this precarious situation as liberals, where we're stuck in this environment right now where we're getting hit by people on the left, and simultaneously we're getting hit by people on the right. So that really just brings us to the Liberal Action Network, which is what we're here to talk to you guys about today. But as we've touched on, the main thing is about bringing people together so that they can collaborate and so that we can build a genuine community. I think one thing that's like kind of interesting about myself is like my background, as a lot of you know, is with defense and with the Ukrainian community. And there is at least as far as like the pro-Ukraine community goes, there's a lot of overlap with like normie libs. But I don't have my audience, my community isn't really a liberal politics community. And so what's really nice for me is to be able to connect with other creators that is their audience. Their audience is liberal content creators or liberal political audience. And we can come together in places where we agree on, and either we can collaborate on creating content, or we can collaborate on supporting politicians that we like and campaigns that we like. I know as a fact, as somebody who's an advisor and working on some things behind the scenes, that we are working on a project or two for some very worthy political endeavors that we're going to try to come together as a community to support. A little bit of touching grass, if you will. But I think the main thing for you guys in the audience to hear is just, number one, communicate with us what you want to see from us, what you want to hear from us. If you've got multiple different creators that don't normally engage with each other, bring that up. And basically just spread the word. I mean, the funny thing is, I feel like basically everybody in this space has heard of it, except for Destiny, apparently, which is comical. He just made a post about it.
That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny because we've already been accused of being a Destiny server, which that's going to happen as soon as you put your name liberal to anything. Oh, your Destiny's something or other, and it's like, no. We had one of the things that struck me about this conversation is that meme where you have the stack of papers that are this is the rules for liberals, and then you have the one single sheet of paper this is the rule for everybody else. And it's true. It's like we talk about the one of our members getting doxxed and having that. These are coordinated campaigns. Right? We were talking about how well organized the far left and the far right are. The internet is made for them to organize because it doesn't require much activity. They don't have to have decent jobs. They can do this from their mother's basement. All of the insults I can throw out there at them at once. But that allows them to feel like they have power, feel like they're influencing things, and to their credit, they are influencing things, and that's a really dangerous place where you have people who are not invested in society trying to influence society. That's really dangerous. And so we have to combat that by organizing ourselves. We have to look at what they're doing, not to emulate their tactics. Like I said, the rule book is still going to be this big for us and non-existent for them, right? They can use all of these tactics that we can't, but that doesn't mean we can't use our own tactics in a positive way and in a way that doesn't tear people down, but that builds up our own side, that protects our own side, that says, hey, we don't have to put up with this behavior from the other side. We can build our own thing. We can organize around our own set of ideas and a set of principles, and that's something that the liberal space in social media has really been lacking. And so that's the hole we're trying to fill. And from the response, I think it's pretty clear that we're filling that.
Yeah, and I have two things that I want to say about that.
Go ahead.
I think that there are sort of two big goals that we should be focusing on as a community moving forward. Is number one, I think that we should be taking the time to thoughtfully criticize what is wrong with what these people are offering. Because it's not just a matter of I don't like them. It's not just a matter of I heard socialism and I'm a boomer from the Cold War and it gives me the EBGBs. It's a matter of these people are putting out things. They happen to be illiberal things. And they are bad things. They have platforms that are bad, that lead to bad things. These pushes towards abolishing the police, defunding the police. Many locales did defund. They didn't completely defund, but they limited the funding of the police, and it had catastrophic problems in the communities that needed them the most. There's all sorts of areas where we need to be sitting down and criticizing in a cohesive way that people can consume what's wrong with these people, what's wrong with what they're suggesting. And number two, and this is a big one, is we need to push back for these institutional positions that we've lost, that there's all these like really small positions that nobody gives a fuck about. Nobody gives a fuck about who is the vice chair of the Virginia College Democrats.
Yes.
Until it's held by the same group of people for 15 years that are radical, that whose politics do not align up with the median Democratic voter. and they put their thumb on every single issue over and over and over, and eventually it has an oversized effect. And like we've said, like you
I
said,
do
Wick,
want
and I'll
to.
give it to you.
Yeah. Go ahead. Finish.
There's been too much of sitting back on our laurels.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. I think that one of the things, like, I am not out here saying that the liberals have behaved perfectly or even correctly or in these things. We have failed in many ways. One of the fundamental ways that we have failed is we have taken for granted that these institutions will always hold, right? We have taken for granted that they will always be liberal institutions going towards liberal goals. I think the college Democrat thing was a good eye-opening experience for people to show the power that one person can have in an organization. Like a lot of the people, the pushback I got today on the Live and Learn people were like, well, there's only 120,000 of them, right? There's so very few of them. That's true, but they don't need to be more than us. What they need is to be in positions of influence and power where they can make decisions that will override the will of the people at large, right? Like, again, if you put it up to just a straight up vote in many of these places, that stuff wouldn't happen. But because it's a representative situation, or many of these positions aren't voted on at all, like staffer positions, things like that, these positions have outsized influence and power. Like a lot of our elected politicians or the people who are running for different positions in Congress, the House, even local level, they rely on their staffers to make a lot of decisions for them or help them to make these decisions. And if they have the ear of these people, they can absolutely take them down paths that they would otherwise not go, or make them believe that certain positions are much more popular than they actually are. And it's just really it's something that you can't, I can't overstate the danger of this. So,
well,
anyway, I could do some moderation in my chat, but go ahead.
Gotcha. Yeah, the institutions part really stands out to me because it reminds me of this one interview with Donald Trump during Trump 1, where one of the journalists interviewing him was kind of pressing him on the fact that he had lost the popular vote. And they're like, well, what do you feel about these people that are pushing for the election to be determined by the popular vote, and the fact that, sure, you won the Electoral College, but you didn't win the popular vote? And his response was very matter of fact. He was like, I could have won the popular vote if I wanted to, but that isn't what determines who gets into office. What determines who gets into office is the Electoral College. Let me tell you something. If I wanted to win the popular vote, I would have campaigned here, 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 and here. And I didn't. Instead, I campaigned here, 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 and here, because that's where the electoral votes are that mattered. And the point is, there is a strategy. It is strategic. And there are different rules and different aspects to being very intentional and having an outsized influence over what you can actually do. And the DSA has done a very good job. They've done a very good job at doing that. And not only that, I think this is important. And this is where I face a lot of criticism, was when I say stuff like this, is there has been failures by liberal leadership. We've let a lot of things happen. We've had some really bad candidates. I think a lot about DAC. I'm sorry, I don't remember her name, out of New York, who unseated Espelot. Where it's like, yeah, Espelot was an incumbent in his district in New York, and he got absolutely he lost the election to her. Why? Because he was a bad leader. That's why. He didn't have his finger on the pulse of his community, and he couldn't bring his community together to vote for him. And if we, like, don't get me wrong, I don't think that people like DAC, I have a huge problem with her and almost everything she does and believes. But their criticisms of these, if we put our heads in the sand and pretend that there's been nothing wrong, and there's nothing to improve, and there's nowhere to go, we're going to lose, because that's not the way to build a country. That's not a way to move forward. And so we have to do both. We have to reform without burning everything down.
No, I agree. I want to hear from another land member, okay, newly, I guess, accepted, Mr. Dre here.
Yo.
Dre, what did you join land for? Why are you a member? Why did you become a member?
Well, let's start with the reason that everyone else joined, right? we all believe in liberalism and what it can do for everyone else. Liberalism is the peak civilization, like civilization style on the planet, right? I am a liberal creator as well. I've been on a few of Wix panels. I'm on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, that kind of stuff, right? And on Twitter. I want to be part of a media sphere that helps promote liberalism to the general public, right? Because if you see a lot of modern polls, like people have gone increasingly to the extremes of both sides. And the Republican Party is already completely taken over by their extreme. And the Democrat Party is pushing a little bit towards the left, the further left, the DSA, the Democratic Socialist Party, right? I think, as Bishop was saying earlier, a lot of the reason that more and more people are joining DSA and that they're getting influence is because liberal leaders are failing the people, right? I think people are disaffected by the current liberal leaders, and the way liberalism is marketed as well is more of like the establishment. Because I know traditional conservatism is almost completely gone because they were seen as the establishment. And so all you see is the "you're fired" guy. He decides to make a cult one day, go down an escalator, and the rest is history. We cannot let our party make the same mistake, but however, we need to address why people are going further left, right? People can't get fucking houses, right? Housing is expensive. So someone who may be disaffected by the current housing market will say abolishing private property is not so bad, right? It may not look bad to them because they're the ones that don't have a fucking house.
I was asked a question by people.
Go ahead.
And this is to, I think, Bishop and to Casey here, Mr. Casey. What is Land's like long-term goals when it comes to things like accepting donations or establishing any kind of voting power? What is the actual goal here of Land when it comes to these things?
Yeah, I can take it. As far as taking donations, right now it's technically just underneath the Project Liberal kind of banner. So if you want to make a donation to it, just mark it in the thing for that. We'll use it for Land purposes. But really, right now we're not focusing on.
Send me a link and I can put it in chat.
Yeah, I can do that. So yeah, but as far as going in the future, like we've got to just build up content creators. We've got to build up young people. Got to encourage them to get out there. We've seen these ecosystems, and the right's done probably as good a job as any. The DSA has done a good job of this, but the right's done as good a job of any of taking those young content creators, feeding them into an ecosystem, encouraging them, building them up. And I'm sure that there's all kinds of bots and all kinds of shenanigans going on there. But they've built them up, and so that at some point when Nick Shirley drops an idiotic video about a topic he has absolutely no idea about it, the Vice President of the United States retweets it, and boom, he's now the right-wing darling, and millions of people pay attention to everything he says. So obviously we have to.
Whenever you're ready. Sorry.
Yeah, we can't. So the right's got this ecosystem of building up these content creators, and they do a really good job of it, and that is something that we absolutely need to emulate. They've got millions upon millions of dollars to pour into these campaigns. We're way behind on that front for sure. But there's not only that. There's also foreign actors that are being built up. There are millions of dollars. Foreign governments are pouring millions of dollars, and I'm not even talking about Israel here. Like, I know everybody's going to go there, but there are other governments around Oman, Russia. There are so many governments pouring money into disrupting the United States, into undermining it for their own purposes. I bet you we would be maybe not this group, but most people would be absolutely shocked with how much Russia wants to undermine everything. It's willing to support anything in America that undermines it, that divides it, that pushes issues. I remember in Texas, there were 2 protests going on the same day. One was a pro-Muslim protest, and the other one was an anti-Muslim protest, an anti-Sharia law protest. And they both traced both Facebook accounts to Russia because Russia was planning both of these from Russia to get, and they got real Americans, Muslims and anti-Muslims to show up at the state capitol and protest each other. Foreign governments are doing this to ourselves. We're feeding it, right? We're feeding into this ecosystem in this cycle. So that's what I see, Liberal Action Network really focusing on and really trying to build that up and saying, Richard Bishop and I were talking about this earlier, where we so many times we see, a content creator, they start coming up and then they themselves, they start chasing that. They start chasing views, they start chasing likes, and that can feed them to go filter towards the extreme because that's what the algorithm wants you to do, right? That's what feeds it. That's why YouTube makes its money off of the Twitch. They make their money off of people feeding into that extremist messaging because more and more people click on it. But if we can provide a healthy ecosystem, one that doesn't reward that bad behavior, if you will, that in fact kind of pushes against and says, hey, no, stay normal. Normal is good. We don't have to go off the deep end here.
We do need to reward normal. Absolutely.
Yes, reward normal is what we need to do.
I've got a couple of problems
that's
with
what I'm
Walt,
thinking.
but you guys are fucking weird response. It was just like really good. Like, we need people to stop being so weird.
Especially in my chat. Look, just a housekeeping thing. Mods, if you're in my chat, just ban these guys, okay? Just ban them. I'm getting them as I can, but I'm trying to do like 10 things at once here. So, help me out, please. Anyway, continue.
Can I? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to. I wanted to expand further on Jonathan's point. He's right, 100%. We need to prop up liberal creators, support liberal creators, that kind of situation. But the thing is that we are at a disadvantage, objectively speaking. We don't have outside funding from foreign governments and billionaire donors.
Well, so this is I would say that you're right about some aspects of that, right? Like, I think Jackson Hinkle is a really great example where you've got somebody like Jackson Hinkle where he comes out and he's a Bernie bro and he's a leftist, and the further he goes radically further down the left pipeline, the next thing you know, 5 years in the future, he is in Iran at the funeral of the Ayatollah shouting death to America, and he's getting his trip paid for by foreign organizations. And unfortunately, that whatever the fuck that is doesn't exist for liberalism. So you're right about that. But where you're wrong is that fortunately, the overwhelming majority of Americans are liberals. And I don't mean in the American political typical lexicon where the word liberal is used to refer to everybody on the left. What I mean in that, it was liberalism that defeated Nazi Germany, liberal. And so when we talk about these values, when we talk about these beliefs which lead us to support certain political candidates and be against others, those values are very popular, and we have the ability to essentially I mean, we have the backing of the polls. We have the backing of voters. It's just a matter of playing the political game, and people don't want to play the political game, but it's politics. There's a reason why Rosa Parks was chosen to be the person to do that political action, and it's because you have to be strategic and you have to be intentional, and either you embrace it or you don't, and you lose.
One of the questions, Wick, that I did hear in your discussion before this was somebody asked you, could you be liberal and MAGA? And
well, I was asking. Hold on, just.
Or you were asking. Yeah, that's right.
I was asking Josiah that because Josiah was like, well, someone could technically be liberal and be in the DSA. And while, yes, possibly, it would be like someone being liberal and being MAGA, right? It would be kind of.
Right.
It's possible. It's just.
Yeah, but I think if you actually sat most MAGA people down and you actually ask, okay, do you actually believe that men and women should have the same rights? I think that most of them would probably say yes. I think if you said, do black people and brown people, do they also deserve the same? Most of them would probably say yes. If you boil it down to those specific talking points, yes, I know. I see the bit of an eye roll there. I would still say that most
support equal rights. No.
You would say so? Okay, well, some of them would.
What about immigrants? Should immigrants have the equal rights? That's where you get them. That's
100%.
That would.
Listen, but my point is this. My broader point is this: is that while I would agree with you that MAGA can't really be liberals because they don't actually apply that to politics. They don't actually apply their liberalism to politics, and I think that that's a fundamental fact that we have to do. Right? We actually have to implement and support our beliefs in the political sphere, but. Liberalism has so ingrained it in ourselves, in our conscience, and in the American psyche especially, that we do automatically most Americans give that automatic liberal answer that all people should have equal rights. Now, they'll bastardize that, they'll twist that, they will undermine that for many people and many groups. But 50 years ago, like my mother went to a high school that lost its accreditation because it refused to desegregate. That's how not very far back all this shit was, right? Like women couldn't have credit cards until the 80s. So
I think 74 was the year. I could be wrong, but
something like 74, somewhere in there. But I was born in 87. These are not that long ago. It wasn't that long ago that interracial marriage was unpopular. Most Americans didn't approve of it, and that's something that's so outside of my realm of experience, of many people's realms of experience. That's a way in which liberalism has really won over hearts and minds, and I think that we have to. I think we have to tap at that. We have to say, are you really willing to throw all of these things away, to throw all of these beliefs that you claim to hold, that you claim to want to support? Are you really willing to throw all of them away? Now, unfortunately, the answer is yes for many of them. But for the vast majority of Americans, if you can appeal to those principles, I do think you can at least get them to acknowledge a few things.
Yeah, I want to hear from Alice a little bit. I know she's been kind of on the sidelines here. I want to just make sure you have time for the mic. Yeah.
Well, since Alice is talking, I wanted to ask you a question, Alice. What would you like to see as somebody who is just a really solid liberal content creator that we are just really happy to have in the land? What would you like to do and see from the land?
So I've been looking into this a lot. And what's so cool about the land, when I heard about it, I have had the same thoughts and started to have the same conversation in several different group chats with several different creators on several different platforms, because everyone is in this same thought process, right? And I think a lot of people, we were disappointed in the DNC autopsy, which was pathetic and didn't give anyone the answer they needed. What can we actually do to create something that's worthwhile as a movement? I definitely think the ability to sort of hash out and coordinate any kind of messaging, not in any propagandistic way or anything, but we don't know what we're talking about. And even if we have personal causes we like, we're just one voice shouting in a random direction in a void against coordinated bot swarms. We can't break through. Even if we had some kind of docket and people could hey, here's a candidate I really like, or here's an issue that's important to me, like climate change. Being able to put that on kind of a thing and hey, let's all talk about this today and be able to have those real conversations would create those waves and start to break through and be awesome. And even just helping each other out for content creation. We need more voices. We need to build up those voices. One thing I love is not doing the crazy doxing harassment campaign, swarming someone with negativity that lots of extremist and botted movements do. But positive support has been tremendously effective with very little. One of the worst things about them ganging up on you is those extremist movements will try to isolate you and pull you in and make them your entire community and all of your peers. And then if you break the groupthink, you feel so desperately alone and attacked. And just having someone else stand up for you, one person standing up for you diffuses that entire army by half. So now they have to attack both of you at once. And so just having a handful of people say something positive and support really makes it easier to deal with and breaks that momentum.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of that groupthink is built in that context to a lot of these bullies, we're normal, we're the good guys, this is what everyone thinks. And just having that challenge by a couple people will cause a lot of those attackers to kind of rethink that and create that space for we can actually have normal conversations again. So yeah, those are the kinds of things I think would really break the sort of kind of tyranny and terror in these online spaces, like upheld by a lot of weird bots pushing like race realism or like one specific candidate at a time. Yeah, like we have real people who want to talk about stuff. I want to know what you want to talk about and be able to like support you and have the conversations you want to have. So you always get bullied into like the monocause.
Stardust, hi.
Hi, so sorry I'm late. I was caught at work pretty late, so thank you for having me despite that. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing wonderful.
Doing
great. We're talking about the Liberal Action Network.
I'm
Alice
so
was able.
excited. Yeah,
It's
and no,
very
I really agree with what Alice was saying there. And also something people don't really kind of think about until they really get into streaming and get into like these online spaces. And once you've been on the out of a really large group, people kind of underestimate how much group dynamics really influence the average person. The average person, I realize, and maybe this is just me being jaded, but the average person has no backbone. Like if we're being real, you know. And when it comes to if everybody's doing something, peer pressure is a hell of a drug. So if it feels like or it looks like online that it is the in thing to be horrible to you, there are going to be people who will take advantage of that and jump in on it and join, you know, the dog pile because it's in to do, right? And it's like being on the receiving end of that. It feels like even if you are making all the right points, even if you are genuinely not doing anything like crazy or whatever, you can still people will still be influenced by groupthink, and you can objectively be in the right about something, and because of that groupthink, it doesn't really matter, right? So I do think it's important to kind of like build up these groups, and when it comes to whether we're dealing with MAGA or we're dealing like with super far left Marxist Leninists or you know Chinese communists or whatever, you know, yeah, they kind of employ similar tactics as really any bully would, and I think it right now being kind of center-ish, or not even. I mean, are we really? But I mean, being center-ish is kind of like really easy to beat up on, really. So
yeah, I say moderate Democrat. It reminds me the first time before I was familiar with Wick, before I was familiar with a lot of you, even
in the before times, yes.
The before times when I first heard of Pisco, it was when he was getting in trouble for saying that somebody was a centrist when they were a moderate Democrat. And it's like, yeah, there is a difference. The difference is that, like, look, I'm not going to vote for a Republican. I'm not going to go in and I'm not going to cast a ballot and I'm not going to vote for a Republican, like, ever. I would just not vote in that extreme situation. But yeah, I mean, we're just moderate Democrats. And I think you're right. It reminds me of a conversation that I had with a very, very well-known, very well-liked content creator at LibCon. And they're like, look, Bishop, man, you know, like, I hear what you're doing with Lockheed liberalism, but you're cutting so many people off. Like, you are cutting out so much of your potential audience. If you look at what some polling is with the Democrats, that when you start talking about defense contractors, these people aren't going to like it. And my response was like, I don't want those people. Like, I don't want to follow into your little group. Like, I respect that that's what you're doing, and those are the people that you want to watch your show and all of this, but that's not my objective. My objective is I know things about defense and I know things about foreign policy, and I just say what I think is the best case scenario, and what that means is that, you know, generally in my case it means that some people really like me and a lot of people really hate me, but you know, that's just I think the way
I feel
it goes.
like that's the definition of being a streamer, right? Or being in this space. Like, there's a lot of people who really like you, and there's a lot of people who really don't. And it's just how it. But one of the and I know we keep harping on this, and I know we keep repeating this, but it bears repeating, because this is the first group I've had that I felt would stick up for me and defend me, right? Like I've had individual friends, right? Like Stardust, for example. Oh, I felt like you've had my back, right? But there's a difference between having that like onesies and twosies and having a whole group that are dedicated and share the same fundamental value. Like I am sure me and Stardust, me and Vince, me and Casey, me and Bishop, me and Dre, me and Alice, there are individual issues where we will disagree, right? Where we will have a difference of opinion on what the right thing to do is, on what the right way to go about things is, or even what the just the moral choice would be. But the thing we all share, and the thing that I hope we can continue to guard, is the fundamental core of we believe in liberalism as our foundation. And I think as long as we can do that, I think this will succeed. I'm really excited for it. But yes, this is the first, like I was saying, I got a little distracted. This is the first time I've had a group that would have my back, would just have my back. So yeah.
And I do have to say, oh, sorry. I just wanted a quick shout out to Quick also for really sticking up for me recently. So that's all. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I think one of the crazy things is having come up over the past 6 years of Twitch poll and seeing Hassan kind of go from Raj Royale over into this space is that I've felt the left shift more towards that further left area, and a lot of the liberals have kind of remained scattered, if you will, almost like stones after a concrete block has kind of been moved further left. There's just a bunch of little stones laying around, no unifying factor. I remember there was a time where IRI was viewed as far left. Like the only people at that time when I first came in that you really had was you had Mike from PA, you had Hassan, and you had IRI, a few other leftists and stuff like that. But we were, it's moved further left, and I think a lot of the liberals have been kind of left behind in a lot of ways as well. And so it's really good to have kind of this movement to kind of say, okay, guys, let's bring back the pieces a little bit. Let's see who we can kind of unify around. And I think we all have unique aspects about our streaming, whatever it may be, right? Whether it's going out and doing the protest, or going out and filming a protest, or going out and doing current events, or maybe you're a debate god, right? And you go out and you go to the debates. And I think if we can find each one of those strengths from each one of ours and kind of maybe help others kind of participate in that a little bit, like for me, for example, I'd love to be able to go out and do more protest and filming protests and doing things like that. But maybe there's somebody who already does that can provide a little bit of that insight, a little bit of that knowledge, and kind of share that, and how we can kind of coalesce behind that. So it's a really good opportunity, I think, that we've kind of built here, a good community, if you will, and a bunch of potential friendships. And I will say, having gone out to these events in real life, just recently having gone out to this event called GridCon, I saw a lot of leftist creators that I beefed with in the day. But now it's like it's a really good opportunity to kind of get together. And I'm sorry, Stardust, I saw you. I didn't say hi, so I apologize.
Oh no, it's fine. I probably was in such a whirlwind with everything that I probably didn't even notice. So yeah, that's all good. Yeah.
I'd like to say a few things that I'm not sure if anyone else has anything to say first, but what my content is normally I usually do interviews and stuff like that, but I'm also doing video essays. I would like to personally interview one-on-one every single person on this panel. Alice, Jonathan, Bishop, Stardust, Wick, and Vince. I would personally like to have one-on-one interviews with every single one of you for my channel and my platform as well. And I would like to be on more of. I know I've been on a few of Wick's panels. I'd like to be on some more of your guys' panels, or if Wick, you want to invite me on anything.
Look, I'll say this.
I know you got plenty of things, man. I'm not trying to be like.
Yeah, no, it's
pushy,
fine.
But...
Anyone who wants to be on my show can always just DM me with an example, and if it works, we have you on. I've very few people I've blacklisted. Okay, very, very few. There's like 2. I think. But yeah, it's just when I can. But yeah, just DM me anytime for that. But one of the things that LAN is good for, though, I guess, to piggyback off that, is, as I see it, one of the things I want to do as a member of LAN, and to be clear, I'm not in any leadership position or anything. I do want to help the people who do become members to grow, right? To become stronger creators, to have more influence, to succeed in the creator space. I think Casey was saying it earlier, where he was saying that one of the things the right has done is they promote their influencers, right? They absolutely support them. They help them grow. They lockstep around them. And I don't know if I want to lockstep, right? Like I don't want sycophants or whatever, but I think that the left and the liberals specifically need to be better at supporting each other in that way. And I say that to say, if you're watching me and you want to support me financially, hit those super chat buttons. And anyway, you know what I mean? But like any of these creators, you should be, the right does it. The right pays their creators.
Yeah.
Liberals, come on.
They at least, at the very least, they create an ecosystem. I think we have an opportunity to do that. But I do think also like just the very purpose of like building a network of people is really, really important, because again, once you've been made like the out person by any of these groups, and you're deemed like evil, right? Or whatever, like you're ideologically evil or whatever according to them, anything and everything is valid and justified to use against you. Yep. And so anybody's been on the receiving end. I'm sure plenty of people here have been on the receiving end, but it is literally anything under the sun, even if it goes against their own values, they will use it against you because you are evil enough and you deserve it, basically. And I do think in the past, liberal creators have not had kind of like the backing or the community to really do that. And I think being able to kind of pull our community, not to do that, to push back on that, basically to survive that, right? So liberal creators haven't, I feel like it's hard for us to build that community to really survive that kind of like onslaught, and you see people burn out all the time from these spaces. So I do think being able to build a network where you have support, even if you are getting everything thrown at you, even if you are getting like the worst of the worst being done to you, it goes a long way, not feeling like you're alone. So
I'm really happy you said that, and it brings me to something that I was trying to touch on a little bit earlier, which it's a Destiny tweet that he put out about an hour ago. He said, "What magical spell or sacrifice do you have to make to be able to create an actual liberal space that doesn't immediately end up filled with spineless libs who give away to authoritarian leftists?"
He must have been watching the Live and Learn episode.
Is it even possible? So first things first, to those out there that are worried that this is just a quote another Destiny organization, he doesn't even know, man. Like he's not
to
a member.
be fair,
involved,
that's kind not to say that we're hiding it from him or anything, because we're putting it out everywhere. But we intentionally invited the people we invited because we didn't want one person to come in and just dominate the space. We wanted. We spent the best month and a half before we opened it up, specifically inviting people to build up a community that wasn't too weighed on one side, weighed the other way. We tried to find a balance. We tried to make sure that they weren't people that were just come in and suck up the energy in the space, and we're being very particular about who we let in. We're vetting everyone that comes in very specifically and intentionally. Back to what we were talking about just a moment before, though, I want to touch on this is we were just in the advisor chat talking about having some type of mentorship program to try to develop young talent, because you can't tell me, I forget his name, but he strikes me as the most obvious example of a plant was Brillen Holland. Is that how you say his name? Do you guys know who that is?
The big-headed
white pasty kid. Dude. Yes, and he's so clearly
He has no job. This is his only job he's ever had, was this stupid Turning Point stuff.
Exactly,
and so Charlie Kirk, but no one likes him.
Right, and it's just so clearly a plant, and it's so obvious. But we need to be out there pulling up young talent, because here's the thing: as liberals, I don't think our motivations aren't to get famous. Our motivations aren't to make things for ourselves, by and large, right? We're generally in it because we believe these things. We really want these things out in the world. We want these ideas. We're passionate about them. And so I think that, again, going back to the algorithm doesn't really like that, because that doesn't feed into what the algorithm wants. we need to combat that by finding that talent, by promoting that talent, building that talent up, and you know what? There's plenty of talent out there, talented people in liberal spaces, but they aren't motivated. They see all the attacks, they see all this hate, they see all this vitriol in online spaces. And what's it for them? They can go have a great career in life outside, not worrying about it. And so I think we can find these people and you know, hold their hand and say, hey, listen, we're here for you. You know, stick with it. Here's some good ways to not get burnt out. You know, I've been in social media for 6 years or something like that. I had to look at what year it was. But I've been in social media for a long time. I've built a bunch of large accounts over time. I've worked for a lot of different things. Like, these are things that I know, but that aren't obvious to some people. I'd love to just sit down and like, hey, here's what I'm looking at when I see your social media, or here's a good way to look at things. Here's how to find your own voice.
How, like, you run the Project Liberal account? Is that?
Yes.
accurate?
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys have viral tweets all the time. I'm always seeing you on my
pretty
feed.
regularly. I'm kind of surprised. Yeah, we found a
you guys do a great job.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, there is
it's not just me, for the record.
In LAN, right? There is talent that we have that we can help others learn. It's a skill. It can be learned, right? It can be passed on. And liberals
100%.
need to piggyback on what you're saying, need to help build up more of us. We need more mans, okay? We need more peoples. Peoples, right? We need more peoples.
Part of it's just a numbers game. Getting more people into the game and keeping more people in the game. Eventually, those people will rise up and we'll have our own, you know, cream of the crop rise out and build their own thing eventually. Like that, we need the numbers as much as anything.
Pay it forward.
It sounds like you're calling for a revolution. No, I'm just, but I want to ask. There you go. I think the one thing I want to ask though is because we've answered kind of what what LAN is, and what, you know, the future vision is of it. But I think it's important also to answer and put on the record what it is not, because I think there's going to be, and again, I don't think that this is going to be something that may happen once here or there, but there are going to be instances in which we have to address that this is not. So I think it's important with this launch that we also address what it is not. Does anybody want to kind of take that torch?
I can start. And I know that Jonathan Casey would also be good to talk about this. So we are very intentional in everything that we do here with the Liberal Action Network. Like Jonathan Casey outlined, we've been intentional we have an entire recruiting channel where we have people where we audit, we go through everybody's content to make sure that they are a good fit. We are very selective of who we accept and when we accept. And so as far as things of that we're not, one of the things that we've had to talk about extensively is the criticisms that this organization will face, whether it is involved in certain things or not. And so what this organization is not is it is not a harassment organization. If you're planning to join this organization and say, I have a beef with this one creator and his people are coming after me, so what I want you to do is to go after him. I want you to weaponize your audience, and I want to track all this stuff down, and I want to do this, and I want to do that. That's not what the Liberal Action Network is for. And also, we very much do not want to be associated with that. So we're not just not that. We're actually against that.
Yeah. No, and if somebody if somebody is in LAN and using those tactics and promoting those tactics, you're out. Like the nice thing about Project Liberal, I think it's been interesting. We've talked with other organizations, we've working with other organizations, but the nice position that Project Liberal has is work our own thing, right? We aren't reliant on this creator, that creator. We're not reliant on anybody. We are an independent organization with really a vast majority of our funding is just small dollar donations. So we have no problem kicking anybody out that is a problem or doesn't fit the mission and purpose of the org. So we're pretty adamant about these things, and I don't see any reason why we want to abandon them.
Yeah. And the most glaring question: nobody is paid that is in LAN, correct? I just want to make sure, because that's going to be probably one of the biggest accusations.
I
Given
wish
what
I was getting paid.
I know. I just have to put that out there because I feel like that's
Right.
going to be an accusation.
Yeah. So Vince, look,
Yeah, no, I
if
get
you've
paid
got
shit,
the
brother.
line on the dark money, please get me
Give us
in
that
there,
dark
man.
money, man.
Yes, I am begging.
We need that
Soros,
dark money.
Netanyahu, please. No,
I will
Soros,
literally
please.
build a shrine to Netanyahu behind me if Netanyahu starts giving me money. I will literally, I'll start praying on camera to him if it happens.
I just want to make this clear to everyone watching. That's a joke. This is a joke. We are joking. Okay?
Yeah, no,
It's a joke.
Can't carry
There's
on.
no
It's a
money.
joke.
Because I know that's going to be clipped and they're going to be like, these pro-Israeli Netanyahu genociders.
I shouldn't have said.
us.
I shouldn't have said that. Yeah, I shouldn't have said that. Sorry.
We're,
come on, Wick. Oh, come on, Wick.
No, so there, to address that in two ways. Number one, there is nobody that is being paid to work on the land in any way. No, nobody has joined for money, and nobody that has been involved in its creation or administration is being paid to do so. That's number one. So, like, for example, there is no organization that somebody would be employed for. Let's say I'm Joe, and I work for Organization A, who pays me, and part of my job with Organization A is to work on the land. That doesn't exist. We don't have those guys. I would like one of those guys, but we don't. That's a joke. We don't have that. And number two, we are exploring. Eventually there will be like a call to action. For example, when it comes to getting a Democrat elected to be the president of the United States, you bet your bottom dollar that the Liberal Action Network is going to be coming together to try and help them in any way that we can in the digital space, especially. However, we've talked about that, and I don't think that a financial model works for something like that, especially with the type of authentic content that the Liberal Action Network works. So
just to kind of give some personal anecdote on the differences right here and why it might be a problem. Look, I like money. I like to get paid. But the amount of shit I went through when Progressive Victory was paying me, even though I disclosed it, even though I was above the board, it just did not matter, right? And it was absolutely an attack vector that they used again and again and again, which is one of the reasons that we are fighting an asymmetrical battle. No one gives a shit if the people on the right are paid, right? Right-wing influencers, they're getting money. They all high-five each other, right? No one gives a shit. But left-wing or liberal creators get paid, even if it's above board. They're seen as traitors, right? And they're seen as somehow tainted. So I think it's a smart move, like from a pragmatic perspective, to do what you guys are doing. Because again, the alternative is it's hard to get anywhere. I hope that changes just from a I like to get paid perspective, but yeah. Speaking of, someone needs to go to bed, so I've got to read their super chat now. Black Ops for $5 says, Wick, you are a liberal king. Yes, I am. For asking Keith if Hassan shocked his dog on Live and Learn. Just cut right through the act with one question, LOL. To be clear, the question I think that got him was before that, though that was a good question. I agree. And the question I asked after was even better. But the question before that was, why are you a member of DSA? And his failure to answer that in any way, like, well, I just like that they organize. Bullshit, right? Like, bullshit. And then, again, asking him, is Hassan Piker a threat to the Democratic Party? And him being like, no. Yeah, bullshit. It's just all bullshit. Anyway, sorry about that. Someone had to go, and they asked me to. And anyway, continue on.
Yeah. If I can just say really quick, I think I misspoke earlier. I'm not going to draw attention and say what I misspoke on, but I'm just glad that people clarified things earlier. So yeah, thanks. All that. Yeah.
No worries. Hey, so on the money question, just to make it clear, with land, if you donate money in Mirror Market for land, it goes 100% towards, like, we have a bunch of tools that we're building. We have a bunch of projects that we're working on that do cost money to run. Now, Project Liberal is footing all of those bills. So if you make a donation, you earmark it for that. We'll make sure it goes directly to supporting all of the land's projects. And nobody's getting paid for any of that. So
yeah.
that's
Hey, Jonathan, why don't you expand just a little bit on what some of those tools are that are using the credits?
Yeah, so we've built up a few of them. So I like so many people these days, especially, is when I go on Twitter, I feel like I'm just wading through the sewer. So what we built is basically a tool that looks at specific lists of liberals, of MAGA. It breaks them down into different groupings. But basically it summarizes the list. It says, hey, this group of people is talking a lot about these issues. This group is talking about these issues. It'll show you the tweets. It basically creates a custom feed for our members so that they don't have to go through Twitter. And I know I've sat on Twitter and scrolled for an hour just to try to find what's being talked about. And I'm digging through 100 tweets before I reach one that I'm like, oh, here's something I actually want to see and talk about. So we're trying to eliminate some of that scroll time for them by just creating those custom lists, custom summaries. It kind of shows you, where in the rankings they are as far as like how much people are talking about them, et cetera, et cetera. We've also got basically some calls to action. So if you remember, you can call people to action. It'll put it out there and tells the other member, hey, this is a really important issue. Let's all jump on this. Let's all retweet this. Let's all respond to this, reply to this. Another thing, we kind of had to build this tool quickly because it just happened over the weekend. One of our members, had a doxing situation. So we built a tool that as soon as somebody can report a tweet that's doxing them, it immediately goes out to all the people who volunteers to get those alerts, and they can go and report that tweet.
I wish we had this a month or two ago.
I know.
That would have been nice.
We're going to use this again and again. And so, so that's a tool that we've gotten. We've got a bunch of people that are willing to get those alerts and go report those tweets to try to keep that information as private as we can. And then we've also got a kind of an archive, a public archive. So with Twitter, your search options are pretty limited. So we've basically, scanned a lot of accounts across the board. Project Liberals scanned in there. My personal tweets, though I haven't tweeted in a year, are in there as well. You can go in and you can do deep research on these accounts and pull up their tweets. Not only can you search the tweets, you can also search the images. So we do an OCR on all the images, so you can pull the text out. So when you want to go look at what Ben Shapiro has said about immigration, it pulls up all of his tweets, but it also pulls up gives you kind of a severity score on how radical it is or how crazy it is. It also looks at like if he posted a meme, I guess he doesn't do it too often, about immigration, it would also pull that up and surface it. So you can so instead of just doing a regular text search of Twitter, you can actually have an actual search their graphics as well. We're going to add videos at some point. That's a little bit further down the road. And then we've also got access to the Project Liberal. We've got thousands of memes. You can go in there and search them and pull them up if you're looking for something. Oh yes,
thousands of memes.
We have a lot.
Oh my god!
It is
ones.
It's
actual good ones.
Yes.
Wow.
I hope so. I've made most of them, so I hope so. But yeah. So so we've got those in there. You can upload them and you can tag them, sort them. You can kind of favorite them. You can upload your own, and it does an OCR on them again. So a lot of times when you're searching for a meme, you're searching through folder. You're trying to organize them. Well, this actually takes the text off of them, kind of gives you a short description of them, kind of says, oh, this is a Family Guy meme, or this is a the boyfriend meme, or whatever it is. It actually pulls that up so you can actually search for it that way, as opposed to we've all been there trying to search for a meme. Trying to find it and you can't quite hit the right keyword. Well, this makes it a little broader and makes it a lot easier to find stuff like that. And so there's a few other tools that we've talked about. Like we want to add a database for good arguments, right? So if you're going into Vince, I think you brought this up. You were the one that brought this up and suggested it, that when you're going into a debate with somebody, you want to bring really good arguments to the table. Well, here's a bunch of topics. Here's a bunch of arguments for those topics. Liberal arguments, liberal facts, data, and all of those things lined up for you. So you can just click on a topic, do some research right then and there, and it's about trying to just give content creators the tools that they need to handle the things that they're trying to do. And yes. We've got other things that we're coming down the pipeline that we're going to try to add on. But that's a general overview.
And if I could jump off of that,
please.
So with this announcement, with announcing that the Liberal Action Network is public, we received a lot of something that we weren't quite expecting, which is actually really awesome. And what we received is tons of applications for the Liberal Action Network from people that are like, hey, look, I'm not a content creator. I know that this organization is for content creators, but I'm a liberal and I really want to support you guys in one way or another. And some people are coming forward and saying, hey, I have these skills and I'd like to help. And other people are just saying, hey, I'm online and I'd like to help. And so what we have, we're in the last final stages of putting into action is essentially a Friends of the Liberal Action Network type role where you can join the Discord and there will be some limited tools and channels that you will have access to so that, number one, there can be better communication, and number two, you can participate. So
and it provides better transparency into the organization. You'll see what we're trying to promote. You'll see the people we're trying to put out there. You'll see the announcements, the ideas, the topics that we're trying to put out there, which I think is valuable in and of itself.
Yes.
Because we're a private organization. We do not want to be a secret organization.
Yes. What is some of your, and maybe this, in the interest of transparency, what are some of the concerns people have here about the Liberal Action Network? Because I have a couple. And I'll just tell you right now, like we say, and I understand why we do this, but the membership is private, and I don't know why. I know why. It's because we don't want to give people a target list, right? But at the same time, should it be? Shouldn't we be willing to kind of stand up and stand strong and say, we're going to accept some risk to actually stand up for our values? That would be a criticism I would have for the group so far.
So one thing I will say is that if you go to liberalaction.net and you go to the member section and you go down to the very bottom on the account, you can click list me on the public site. Now, I don't have a spot on the public site to put that on there, but I do want to, at some point, I want to have a spot on the website that says, here are our members and here's all the members that have clicked that button and said, yes, list me on the public site as a member. So I agree with you that I do think that we should be more public and we shouldn't be afraid of that. But that is something that I've thought about and is something that I do want. Well,
I can see the argument because, well, as we just had a doxing incident, right? And we aren't public, right? At least as public as we should be. That's going to happen. We're going to list ourselves, and it's just going to be like a target list, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I understand why people want to stay private, but I don't know if we can afford to do that. But that's just me.
I know, I know you made an announcement. I made an announcement. Project Liberal made an announcement. I mean, I would say when we launched, most people made an announcement. We've played around with the idea pretty early on of saying you have to, it might be a requirement to make an announcement on whatever you're on. If you're on fucking MySpace, you got to put a post on MySpace saying that you're in the Liberal Action Network. We might explore that if we really. This is definitely an idea that we're still fleshing out. But I will say there's we want to tread the line of protecting people from undeserved harassment and being a transparent organization. And if there's I'll put it this way, if there is any meaningful criticism from individuals, creators, the public about that, by all means, please communicate it with us. We're very receptive, and our intention is to be an open and transparent organization.
I want to hear from the other people as well, right? Anyone else knows this?
Yeah.
I want to mention this too. Going back to, again, tools. A lot of us have been in this space for quite a long time. We've all had, not all necessarily, but some of us more than others have had to combat some of these incidents. And again, going back to those tools, there is ways to help each other out when those things occur, right? And I think that that's something that, again, it's coming together as a community going, okay, hey, I've encountered this particular incident, whether it's this one or whether it's, hey, I've got a viral tweet that just went crazy and my DMs are blowing up. I don't know how to handle this kind of attention. These are useful tools for those creators who have been in the space for quite a while that are able to help you navigate that as a new creator or a creator who hasn't had this kind of attention. So I think that's a very important point as well, again, as part of the community.
Who else? Who else has something to say? Okay. Who else has?
I do.
Go ahead.
I do. Oh, sorry, you go first, Carl.
Single player Carl. Go ahead.
Listen, the black man's been waiting patiently. I'm playing. Hi, I'm Carl. Single player Carl. You can call me Carl for short. I can expand upon a bunch of different ways people have spoken about it thus far, but generally, I'll start with my reason for joining. I've been on the internet since I was a teenager, and especially when I chose to become a content creator when I graduated as the year of 2012, right before Gamergate kicked off. And I have watched the entire ecosystem circle down the drain, one website after another. I watched it happen from the position of not even being involved in Gamergate, despite multiple users, members, friends, and now accomplices and members of LAN, all collectively doing their own thing. And through navigating the internet, I have watched the rise and fall of Twitch under the hand of Dan Clancy. I have watched Hassan Piker effectively try to Stalin every single person out of his life and present himself as the face of politics, despite the fact that he was made by Destiny. And Destiny in turn made Vosh, and Vosh in turn made White Force, White Leaf. And then the thousands, technically, literally thousands, but in case hundreds of different users that have been crushed underfoot, left, right, apolitical, dead of center. Public examples like Rose Wrist by the hand of White Nervosa because of the crime of spell checking something for Destiny. People like Shark03, despite him being a footnote in many people's career, actively being crushed underfoot by they now call themselves the Nebula elite of Nebula, which is just communists and socialists creating content for YouTube because he decided to become friends with people like Signifier. The entirety of most of Twitch being overtaken by politics entirely. Offline TV, the WL and Parker's community, and multiple millionaires and billionaires, including that of Hassan Piker and his many members of mod communities like Hassanites, just completely controlling the left-wing apparatus, and the entire time that is Dorsey Twitter, where people were just simply banned for having the wrong opinion. You didn't matter if you liked a tweet, retweeted a post, made a post. I've watched people be erased from the internet and then never let back on because they weren't popular enough. I've also seen the right wing, and I've seen people in the middle, including liberals themselves, effectively be hazed and antagonized in and out of circles and spaces because somebody amongst administration or group, or even worse, the snarkers, recently within the last 2 months and a half, Wick, two months, somewhere like that.
Time is a construct. I don't fucking know.
Me too, bro. I would say the last 2 months, effectively targeting any person who could ever be platformed by that of WIC TV for the crime of showing up on camera and it being all-out warfare, because the entire ecosystem has become a case of multitudes and levels of asymmetrical warfare, and it has never been so bad to be a smaller streamer, because even when you're dealing with problems foreign, you still then have to prove yourself to the operator's domestic. And there have been multiple people, myself specifically, especially, who have had to deal with that their entire career. You're not good enough. You're not big enough. Your voice doesn't matter. What can you actually do? Who even cares? And some of these people are the most quintessential pieces of the puzzle, because you do not build something like this alone. It cannot happen. As much as a house divided against itself cannot stand, you cannot even build a house if nobody wants to offer the help. Because now it becomes a question of, do I get paid for it? Is it going to increase my career? If I make the right friends, if I shake the right hands, if I clink and just the right wine sips, can I be able to get in these circles?
Okay.
It's a problem. And the reason why I joined the network is because they clearly have a goal. They know what they're looking to do. They have stated their mission statement, and they're planting their feet and saying, I'm going to stand behind this person. I don't care what you say they've done. Prove it to me. And we'll go further. Go ahead.
No, I just, it is late on my end, and I want to make sure we do get like I don't want to cut you off, right? But we are wrapping up soon. I want to make sure everyone gets a chance to kind of give their final thoughts and things like that. But finish, and then we'll get to that. Go ahead.
But ultimately, I think the LAN has the most effective. It picked the best time and the most effective time to present itself, because I think the biggest problem right now, especially even if you're not in the political space, it's the EHD connection. Ethan Hassan Destiny. Ethan Klein has taken a little bit of a back turn, but it's just Destiny Hassan, back and forth. Do you support him? Do you not support him? Sex Epstein, Mao and Lamau. All the memes back and forth in perpetuity, and then underneath it, the snarkers. Basically ripping down, tearing down anybody they can, and making people have reasons to basically not be a part of anything, because people generally, they don't have a spine and they won't grow a spine. But it's not because that they can't do so, it's because they don't see the support structure to do it. I see LAN actually making the attempt to do it, and making the attempt to actually filibuster and say, I want to know who's coming in this door, and I'm not just going to let you use me as a personal army. Those are probably some of the biggest reasons to support the org, and it's one of the reasons I choose to support it. Because I've seen too much to not now use that information, even if I don't get to go physically canvas, because I have to work a lot from home, legally bound to care for another person. But it is the case that they want more than just faces. They want faces, they want bodies, they want hands. And I have seen the support come out. I've seen people actively start talking about collaborating.
Yes.
And it's good.
Yes.
It's good.
Okay.
All right.
Dang. Yeah. We got to get to last thoughts because I am old. Okay. I'm 43 years old and I can't stay up forever.
Happy birthday, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Well, it was
we should all sing happy birthday to Wick together.
Man.
Birthday to
Yo,
Wick.
can we do that?
I'm not a singer. I'm a creator. Okay, I don't
the best
sing.
present I can get is for that not to happen right now. Okay.
too late.
But I wanted to give everyone a chance to kind of give their last kind of thoughts, and I want to give Bishop the last word here. But let's just go around and briefly just kind of last thoughts on Liberal Action Network and your hopes and dreams and fears and all that shit.
I'll start us off.
Go around. Oh, okay.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, you want to start us off?
I'll go for it.
Casey,
I'll go for it.
Go ahead.
I'll go for it. I mean, listen, I've been involved in politics for a long time, and we've seen these movements come and go. We've seen content creators rise and fall, and it is sad to me that we have so few actual liberals proclaiming liberalisms at the top of the game in content creation that are really out there pushing the envelope, pushing the ideas forward. And they've influenced our society so much, and we've taken it for granted. And if we don't find a way to actually push those ideas forward, we're going to lose those ideas. We're going to lose out on the greatest thing humanity's ever come up with. And that's what I hope LAN accomplishes.
We're just gonna go around quickly. Dre, quickly.
So the reason I decided to join LAN, and I'm honored that I was selected for this program, was because liberalism needs to be promoted more. This is not just saying just on online spaces. We need to grow our online presence as well, but we also need to make sure that it translates into the real world. Because human rights, liberalism, freedom, people just want to be able to enjoy their life while having, to try to find the word, like to live their life as they see fit, right? Liberalism is the only system that actively promotes that to everybody, and we need to protect it.
I agree. Thanks for being here, Bishop.
Thank you for having me.
I really appreciate everybody coming out and being able to talk about the Liberal Action Network. I would just close in saying that we have a really great group of people. We have a really great group of people that we've brought together. I think that's one thing that, like, frankly, brings people into the Liberal Action Network is when there's activity in the chats. We're like, hey, wait, what did Wick say? I want to hear. Wait, who said what about this? I wonder what people in the land are talking about this. So we're very lucky to have a really good group of people, and we have a lot of other creators that we've talked with that we are pulling the trigger on and bringing in, and have a timeline for bringing in. So there's going to be a lot more fun as we move forward. And on top of that, not only do we have more great people coming in, we have some really, really great things that we're going to be working on as far as getting the closer we're getting to the elections, and just different initiatives and stuff we can help and support with that. Yeah, so I just hope that you all get to look forward to that and get to participate in that. And yeah. Thanks for listening.
Alice, go ahead. And if you guys need to hop off, I know some of you do. Feel free. But go ahead, Alice, please.
I think there's a lot of people who want to help right now, who care about something, who want to speak up, and either have felt like they can't before, or like an opportunity has not occurred to them before. And now you can. We should have activism again. I miss that. And we can have that. We should have cool, good, faith conversations about things, and support each other. And yeah, this is our chance to build something good and something great.
Thank you for being here. Stardust.
Yeah, I don't have much to say. I think I said everything I needed to, but just thank you for having me be part of this project, and can't wait to see what we do together. So, yeah.
Cool. Carl, go ahead.
I think it's probably the best thing for anybody who feels like they have never had a chance to try to work together, because I echo off of what she said as well. It's not just about having people collectively work together and have actual activism, but praxis. There's too many talkers that are inside boys and girls that will never live the principles and go outside and actually do something about it. Even if just as a joke. They let somebody else do it. And unlike people who are professional inside boys and girls, like Wick, these individuals basically just do it because it's a lark. It's something funny to do, and then they forget about it. And then election season go by. And then their life goes by, and they're still there doing the same thing. It's an opportunity for some people, especially if they've done it already in other ways, to, if not anything else, meet other people, grow their space, grow along with the space, and help build a project so that they can put their hands to work and get busy. Because the entirety of the project is to have something that is going to stand the test of time.
Yes.
Period. It doesn't matter how small a person is, doesn't matter how large they are. Everybody matters.
True.
And that means working together, even if you think that person can't offer you anything. Because maybe right now they can't. But what happens when they can? You want to be able to grow in the future, you got to start now.
We do. Thank you for being here, Carl. Really appreciate you. Last but certainly not least, Vince.
I'll keep it short and simple. This is a great movement. I think we're going to have a lot of coalition building behind what is traditionally not a coalition kind of movement. Liberalism tends to be, again, kind of the idea of like the individual and things of that nature as well, depending on which kind of side you look at it on that. So I'm glad to see that we're actually having a final movement of, hey, okay, let's bring all of our liberal content creators around each other. Let's build them up. Let's give them the tools that they need to be able to go out there and continue to push the messaging of liberalism. I think this is a great tool. I think that it's going to, any kind of criticisms that may be levied, I think can be resolved through just simply watching the stream and seeing what we believe in that thing. So I am the Vince Wilson Show. You can find me on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, TikTok. Nobody mentions TikTok. Okay, listen, TikTok's a wonderful place. Okay, it's also a little scary place too. Okay, but listen, come over to the dark side. Okay. Anyways.
Well, thank you all for being here, and I'm going to let you go, and then I'm going to read Super Chats in my chat. But LAN Gang, the Liberal Action Network, we're here, we're strong. Sign up. I have a link in my YouTube description, and if this sounds like something you want to get in on, sign up. Okay.
Thank you, Wick.
Guys
Thanks,
go.
Wick.
Later.
Bye.
Okay. Chat. It's just you and me. Okay, a lot of you are mouthing off If you call one of my guests that, I will ban you. Don't do it. You know who you are. I banned you. You can't do that. You can't just call them racial slurs like that. What the fuck? Okay. Oh, tomorrow we'll be going on a right-wing panel. Okay, hosted by a right-wing guy. And we're going to be punching right. It's going to be on Ukraine. Should be fun. Let me read some of these super chats. Did you guys like it? Overall, look, there's a lot happened. We had some special, unexpected live and learn times. Okay. Wick versus the world. Then we had Keith Edwards special. That guy, man. Sometimes it all works out. And the arguments that you're making are proven correct in real time. And I couldn't have asked for a better example, okay, of the reasons why I think these people are subversives and we need to keep them out of influence and power than Keith Edwards. Can't think of a better example. Okay, let's read some of these lovely, wonderful, juicy super chats. And remember, gang, if you enjoy this content, if you like what I do, Bland doesn't pay me. DGG doesn't pay. No one pays me except for you, dear viewers. Yes, you, my wonderful wickers. Okay, so you got to give me money. You got to send those super chats. You got to send those Twitch subs. All of that really helps me out. $10 from Pondering Politics, the super chat that started it all. Live and Learn is talking about this. If one or both of you want to discuss it with them before your 8 p.m. deadline, we had that. And then $5 more from Pondering Politics, say, if so, DM Soypill. $5 from Das Vildanya. The DSA were engaged in election denialism in 2020 when they accused Pete of using CIA connections to rig the Iowa primary. Well, yes, this is why, like, the argument of, like, well, MAGA's going to try to steal the election is true. But the DSA would also do that if they had power. Like they would they have before and they will again engage in election denialism. They don't have power, so they are less of a threat. But that's just one more reason to keep them out of power. $5 from Lawson Harrison. If Trump tries this, it's civil war anyway. So Wick's stance is reasonable. I mean, yes, look, if they try to steal the election, certain things come on the table that are otherwise off the table. Let's say that. $5 from Odashara. Remember the Justice Squad? Yeah, they suck. Now the DSA is the Justice Squad again. Fair enough. $2 from Metalworks. You should bring up Mamdani doxing rich owners. I don't know much about that, so I didn't bring it up. $10 from Raging Unicorn. Where were these hard conversations in 2024 when the Gaza is speaking now crowd? They can go drink Clorox. Well, they shouldn't drink Clorox. Everyone should drink soda or water. $10 from All Hat No Fish. From $10, it says DSA today makes for Super MAGA in 2032. True. $50 from All Hat No Fish. Good luck with the 5v1. Happy belated birthday. Well, thank you for the $50. I do appreciate you. I enjoy the dog pile a little bit. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I enjoy being the guy that's, punching in all directions, that's taking it on, because damn it, I'm correct. My stances are correct, and I can defend them, and I'm happy to do so. So, yeah, I don't mind being a dog piled. I do mind being interrupted, right? Especially when I'm the 1 and they're the 5. That's what makes it a little annoying, is when I'm trying to get something out and one of them will interrupt or another will interrupt and they're all trying to interrupt and get their own points out, right? That can make it a little frustrating, but it's a small price to pay for a good discussion and what I felt was good content. And I hope you guys liked it. $10 from Operation C4. The DSA disapproves of democratic institutions. If they aren't broadly popular, why take the large hit amongst moderates? If they are, why not force them to make their own party and caucus with them? Good question. $10 from Basic Dudes. Saying the DSA will never take over as a defense shows a lack of political competency. They don't need to take over. They just need enough seats and power to hold us hostage to their will. Yes, people don't realize this. It only takes a very, very small amount of people in the right positions to cause large amounts of problems. I don't know if they'll ever have enough popular will to win a lot of seats, but they don't have to. They just need to be in positions of influence and power within the Democratic Party in a way that will sabotage us. $5 from Raging Unicorn. The fight against MAGA was in 2024, and lefties decided to stay home. Quote, Gaza is speaking, end quote. True. $10 from Tristan Thomas. +4 New York Attorney General Lolita James has spearheaded major labor actions and legal victories to protect gig workers, notably securing a massive $328 million settlement against Uber and Lyft. And this, Tristan Thomas, right, is pushing back against Keith Edwards, say that the Democrats don't do anything on the local level for workers. And that, yeah, it's just not true. He said a lot of things that just were not true in that conversation. But he was a good example of why I push back as hard as I do. And I'm sounding the alarm. And a lot of people are annoyed that I'm loud about it, but oh well, be annoyed. It's worth sounding the alarm for. Like, it's funny too, and this is an aside. Maybe I shouldn't say that. No, I'll say it. No, I'll say it. I'll say it because it's true. A lot of people think that I am only taking this stance because Destiny is taking this stance. You got it backwards. I've had this stance or a version of this stance for years, right? We can roll back the tape 2-3 years ago where Josiah, when he had the same amount of followers as I did, was grilling me on these topics, and we were butting heads and we were fighting about these kinds of things back then, right? This has always been something that I've been concerned about, always been something I pushed back against, always been something that I'm like, these guys aren't our allies. They are our opponents, right? They are trying to fuck us. And no one believed me. No one believed me. Destiny fought against me on this. I have convinced him. And I say that, but also events have convinced him because of the college Democratic stunt. I think it kind of opened his eyes a little bit. But like, yeah, it's the other way around. I've been convincing him of this position. He's taking my position. It's not perfect. We're not one-to-one, right? But he's much closer to me now than he was a year ago. That's because I'm persuasive. $20 from Senator from West Virginia. One thing local Dem Party chapters can take from DSA is local action beyond elections. Let's beat DSA at tenant canvassing, local community aid like free taillight repairs to prevent comp interactions in black communities, etc. True. Liberals need to get off their asses and get involved. That is a failure of liberalism. Or not liberalism, but liberals. We've grown lazy. We need to stop being lazy. We need to recognize that this is a fight and we need to show up. That means organizing on a community level, right? That means getting involved in your local organizations, local government, local institutions, local help and aid organizations. Liberals need to get out there and have a voice. There is a concept called the tyranny of the present. And what that means is those who show up make the rules in a lot of these organizations. Like if you don't go, no one cares what you have to think. No one cares what you want or have to say. The people who show up get to steer the ship, right? So we need to show up. We need to get off our asses and get involved. $2 from Super Duper Scooper. Show the dog again. She's somewhere. Okay, she was barking a little earlier, but she's somewhere. $100 from Peak to say what a fucking giga, Chad. True. Thank you for the $100. Appreciate you. $20 from Chris says, keep up the good fight, brother. It's exhausting, but I'm stubborn. So yes. $5 from My Listening Library. YouTube says, Wick has been saying we are on the same team for a long time, but there is nothing to show for it. Maybe now? Don't let it rot from the inside. Thank you for that. $5 from Black Ops. Well, we read that one. Single Player Carl for $10. Politics effectively became all-consuming because they made it both political and chose to convert via illiberal psychosis, including tactics and parasocial hazing and quitting engagement. I'd have to explore that more to know if I agree or disagree. I'd have to ask what you mean. $2 from single player Carl. Also, I bought more LAM members to talk on stage. I got you guys. Oh, Oda Shara with 20 Wick TV gift memberships. Thank you, Oda Shara. I do appreciate you. $20 from Pondering Politics. Thanks to you and Hutch preying on my inability to step away. I hope you're happy, Wick. But for real, thanks for the chat. No, thanks for the chat with you, Pondering Politics. You need to come on my show, so it's not a dog pile, and we can have a more calm discussion. But yeah, I do appreciate the invite, and I do thanks for talking to me. I love you, brother, even though you're wrong here, but that's okay. $2 from the Almighty to say, Wick, that live and learn got so much worse. Did it? I'm curious. $5 from Skeptical Ninja. I think by the end of that show, it became clear that Guy was hardcore hiding his power level, and it became super obvious by the end of it. Was it more obvious than when I left? That's crazy. Look, it was obvious as soon as I asked him why he was a member of the DSA. I think it became very obvious that, oh, this guy's mask on. Okay? This guy, there's something, yeah, he's mask on. And I think it became very obvious. But $5 from Cinnabon Pup. Love that land exists now. Hoping it's put on the radar of Tomfoolery, Logics, David Mariko, and so many others and upcoming strong liberals. Yeah, just have them apply. I'm not in charge of accepting applications, to be clear. I'm not. So if you don't get accepted, it's not my fault. I don't see the applications either. So yeah. $2 from the Staccato. I'm helping. Yes, you are. I appreciate you. Almighty Pat for $5 says, my life for the libs. Commies will take it if we lose. True. $10 from Per Thompson. Good on the land. Libs rule. True. 5 more Wick TV gift memberships from AK Batozai. Appreciate you. $5 from Lawson Harrison. Bless their hearts. If the plan is to ignore the harassment that is inevitably coming for this ship, is going to sink it real quick. That's why we have the lands. So we don't have to ignore it. So that we have support for each other. And we are going to get it. Like Casey said, one of our members got gigadoxed. It was real bad. Like, I'm talking, well, I don't want to say too much, but it's like wildly bad. Continuously. And we had to kind of squat up to help get that all taken down. It was a continuous process. But yeah, we stepped up, we stood together, and we're handling it. And I wish I had something like that when I got attacked, right? But it's good to know that I will have that going forward. So that does give me a degree of comfort. $5 from Upstate Trash. Remember, Wick made a discourse by having an extreme position. Being unhinged is a new meta. I don't feel my position's that extreme. Ripped Cripper for $5. Your talks tonight pulled some red and blue MAGA cockroaches out of the woodwork tonight. Stay based. Well, thank you for that. I love you all. What do we got coming up? Like I said, tomorrow we have a show on Ukraine. Wednesday, I'm talking to an Andrew Wilson orbiter named Cool Vic at 8 o'clock. That should be fun. And then Friday, I'm going to be talking to Ryan Mullally. Your guy, I know it's your guys' favorite. So that should be an interesting discussion. I'm excited. He made a video to ask to talk to me. Like, we tried to warn Wick. And so, look, I'm down to talk. I'm down to yap or whatever, and that should be fun. Is LAN only a Monday thing? Well, no, LAN's an everyday thing. It's just that was kind of like an introduction stream, right? It's not going to be a regular like stream, right? But it was an introduction. I want to let you guys know because it might become a regular thing. We might do it regularly. I don't know. I'll see if a few of the people aren't down to kind of like do a kind of like a bi-monthly report or something. I don't know. Maybe. It's a good idea. What else? I think that's all I got. Is there anything else from your guys' end? Any questions you have for me? Any comments? Any more super chats before I let you go? No? Yes, maybe. I love you. All of you. Every single one. Ask Ryan his thoughts on Nolan's Odysseus. Did he not like it? Look, Odysseus was great. I really loved it. Top-notch acting, top-notch script, top-notch visuals. 9 out of 10, definitely. Yeah. Okay. You've got a question, Izzy? What's your question? Ask it quick. I am going soon. Random commenter says you should have a follow-up convo with Hutch or Soy about Keith Edwards being a tanky sweeper. I am look, don't brigade, but you guys should bug Hutch for this because he doesn't answer his DMs. But I would love to have a follow-up convo with Hutch on this. I'll DM him right now. I'm sending the DM. Okay. Sending it. What's your question, Izzy? You said you had a question. You're a Hassanite? That's okay. You can still have a question. Well, I appreciate you too, Ben. Okay, well, I don't know, man. Like, I don't see your question. Did you ask it? I'm just gonna go. I don't know. I don't believe the question is coming. I think you're trolling me. I love you all. If you really want to ask me, just tag me on Twitter or something. Okay. I love you.